Fantasy III. Now, there's two things I want to talk about before we even really begin. The first and the foremost is that today is going to be a bit of a half day. You see, yesterday was my amazing niece's first day of school. I don't mean like her first day of, first grade or first day of 8th grade or whatever. I mean her first day of school ever. So we're having a little bit of a lunch get-together in order to celebrate that. So I'm going to be chopping this off probably in 3 hours or so. So yeah, we're having a really short stream date here compared to our normal. Sorry guys, but that's how it is. Second thing I want to talk about, FF3 is the game in which I know the least as when it comes to behind-the-scenes material. Oh, right. I need to put my necklace on, don't I? Yeah. There we go. I made myself a necklace. You might be like, what's the point of this? Well, I've got the encounter counter on it. So this way it won't fall off, and I can just reach down and be like, whatcha? See? Except I'll do it down here, so it won't be as super obvious and loud, in case anybody doesn't like that sound. Anywho, where was I? So, I have the least amount of intel, if you will, about the behind-the-scenes when it comes to Final Fantasy III. There's a lot I don't know, and there's a lot I probably never will know. I mean, I know about the development issues they were having. I know that one of their, the people working on it literally had their visa expired during the work of this game, and so they had to go finish this in Sacramento. I know that this came out very, very close to the end of the NES's cycle. In fact, this game came out 7 months before the SNES came out. It's actually 6 months and 25 days, if you want to put it into exact terms. Really, really close to the end of the NES's overall cycle. It's not the last game to come out on the NES, and it's not the largest game to come out on the NES, but it is close to both markers. It is also the beginning of something that has happened as well, or I should say has happened, will happen again when it comes to Square, and that is that this is the first of 3 times that they will really push a console. FF3, FF6, and FF9 all really stretch the limits of what their original console can do. If you haven't played FF3 on the NES, this is going to sound weird, but I actually recommend it. While I would obviously recommend the DS version a little bit more because it is functionally superior, the fact is, if you at least have the tolerance for an older game like a NES game, you should at least try FF3 on the NES. You don't have to go all the way through it. Like, just get through the Floating Continent, because it is mind-boggling how much they were able to accomplish on the NES. I actually remember distinctly the first time I ever played this game. Actually, really quick, I noticed a new name there, Zephyr Rose. What's up, dude? Welcome to my stream. Glad you like the Lorerun. Hope you enjoy the rest of it. And as I say to everyone who pops their head in here, don't be a stranger. I love chatting with viewers. I love interacting with you. But if you want to lurk, that's okay too. We are tolerant of both people here. So, when I first played this game on the NES, I was actually, like, I legitimately thought I was playing a hacked version of the game, or a fan version of the game, because it really did feel like a SNES game. An older SNES game, but still a SNES game. And I was just, I can't believe this. What's going on? Really? In fact, I've been debating if I'm going to do this or not, and I think I actually am. I'm not going to go through the whole game on the NES, but I do want you to at least see what it looks like. I want you to have an understanding of what I was going through back in the day. Now, unfortunately, I got to find the exact correct version. I think this is it. There are many versions of this game on the NES, and I think this is the one I want. I am wrong. Yeah, so this game on the NES has actually never come out outside of Japan. It will supposedly be coming out with the 30th anniversary box, but that still hasn't actually been confirmed, and it still hasn't actually gone out to, to release. So, is this the one? Okay, this is it. 1 second. Let me put it up on screen for you guys. I wasn't actually ready for this. The good news is I have something else that is ready to go for this right here. So this is the NES version of the game, right here. Now, doesn't look super impressive so far, I'm sure. We'll call him A. We'll call him B. Call him C. Call him D. Ugh, I fell in. I'm all worn out. There are actually some very minor story differences between the NES version and the DS version. So this, of course, looks like a NES version, but I know this is going to sound really stupid, but watch this. You notice how the damage actually appeared over the guy's health there, like that? That was brand new with this game. Also, brand new with this game, was the targeting advanced system. You'll notice how I had all four of them target the guy at the bottom, and yet one of them went ahead and followed forward to target the guy on the top. This was the first game to implement that, the original NES version. Now, I'm not actually going to play all the way through this, and you're probably looking at this like, yeah, whatever. It's really hard to explain how impressive this was back in the day, without just going through the whole thing, which is not something I'm going to do. But this game was a technical achievement. However, it still had a lot of very serious design flaws. The first and most obvious design flaw with this game is the last 3 dungeons, which are basically done back to back to back. Like, there's no avoiding that. You have to go through the labyrinth, then you have to go through the Crystal Tower, and then you have to go through the World of Darkness. So, obviously we will not be playing the NES version. That would be ridiculous. What we will actually be playing is the PC version. But before we actually begin with that, I do want to talk just a couple more things. One of the I've heard several people, I have heard quite a few people actually say you should play the NES version of this game. Let me go ahead and say that I don't actually agree with that. While there is certainly some positive aspects of the NES version, I do think it's something that should be experienced at least once in your life. And again, I do recommend you play it probably about until you finish the Floating Continent. I do not actually recommend you play that version. It has most of the actual flaws and problems that you would imagine from a NES game, or an early SNES game, if you prefer. It's kind of like how I don't recommend you play the original SNES version of FF4, because it has all the problems of an older RPG, right? I mean, logical, right? That being said, I have heard several people recommend that you play the NES version over the DS version. Now, let me make this clear. There are actually 5 versions of this game, but realistically, there are actually only 2. The original NES, which you can only emulate. There's no official release of the NES version. Or the DS version, which is available on the DS, the PSP, the phone, or PC. So there really are only the 2 versions of the game. Just getting that out there. The reason I've heard, though, and I want to discuss this because this is one of the weirder things, because I agree with it, but at the same time, I can't functionally agree with it. See, FF3 on the NES is a triumph of really pushing the hardware and the limits of what it could accomplish, like I already talked about. The DS version is an average DS game. For the time at which it came out, it was fairly normal, and other DS games, other DS RPGs that were, new DS RPGs, were doing better, or doing more, or doing different. And this, if you look at FF3 DS versus other modern DS games, it just doesn't hold up. And I think part of the problem with that is the fact that they didn't proper remake it enough. Now, let's make no mistake, this is a proper remake. It does qualify. But it's on the lower end of the spectrum, because they kept a lot of the original design intact. And when I say design, I don't mean like gameplay functionality. I mean like specific design of dungeon layout, or of boss design, that kind of a thing. They did do quite a few things to upgrade it. First of all, they actually made 4 playable characters. Lunith, hang on, where's the spreadsheet? I'll just look at that. Lunith, Ark, Refia, and Ingus. By the way, we're pretty much cutting off the donations for those just now. So we actually added 4 characters. They don't do much with them. For pretty much the tutorial part of the game, right up until you get the first airship and then immediately lose it, there's there's a few decent amounts of characterization and development and some little character arcs, and then each of the 4 characters has like one little side quest or one little additional thing in the future, and that helps to flesh out their character or gives them some additional character moments. But otherwise, for the most part, the addition of the 4 characters is kind of there. And I'm going to explain what this is like for anybody who haven't played FF1, or excuse me, who haven't played FF3DS. So I want you to imagine you're playing FF1, and when you what do you mean, DeNoble? Oh, gotcha. I understand what you're saying. Sorry, I just completely misread that. I want you to imagine that you've just gotten to the Dark Elven Castle, and it's like, all right, I guess we'll go ahead and give this to Astos. And this is a cutscene, like an actual cutscene with dialogue with the 4 light warriors. And they're like, wait a minute, what's going on with Astos? Oh my god, he was actually a villain all along. Quick, we must defeat him. Boss battle. Whew, that was a close one. Yeah, and we got the crown back. Or no, wait, what's this crystal? Hey, isn't this the crystal from Matoya's cave? Then the cutscene ends, and then you know to go to Matoya's cave. In other words, there's not a lot of actual story there, but it's a cutscene. I don't know how to properly explain this, because FF3DS is kind of average, in my opinion. And it is, for a long time, I actually considered FF3 to be my least favorite FF, although that has since been surpassed by others, because of the fact that it's just kind of average. It's not that great, but it's also not that terrible. There are very few parts of FF3DS that are actively bad, my opinion, but there's also very few parts that are actively great. Now, I did enjoy playing through this, don't mistake me, but it's basically the merger of FF1 and FF2, because it does have a plot, and it does have some strong characterization, mostly for guest characters. You know, I suddenly can't think of his name. The flirter, the guy who's actually one of the ancients who goes to fix the tower and thus the floating continent. I can't think of his freaking name. Anyways, he's got some decent characterization, right? Aria, Sarah, they get some decent characterization, you know. Is it Deus? Is that his name? A lot of these characters who are not the main characters have decent scenes. There's little mini character arcs. The one in the Metropolis is probably my personal favorite as far as, you know, character development, character scenes throughout the course of the game. And there is, of course, a strong, well, not a strong plot, but there's a cohesive plot going through it. There's a lot of world building. They actually really stretched out what they could do with regards to the setting, and probably for the first time, okay, that's what I was wondering. Probably for the first time, actually made a setting as opposed to just not bothering. You know, you remember how in FF2 there was like no real effort to try and flesh out the kingdom of Palamecia or why the airships exist or any of the backstory. It was just, no, it's here. 3 actually bothered to add some backstory, add some history to the world. And it also was probably the first FF to really emphasize theme. Now, this isn't as cohesive or as well-written as later FFs will get. A really well-written theme I like to think of as a pillar. The idea is everything in a game should, well, I shouldn't say everything, but the vast majority of the story of a game should revolve in some way around this central pillar, right? That's the way I tend to visualize it. And FF3 does not do that, but there is still a strong undercurrent of the theme through most of the main plot stuff, the stuff that is actually relevant to main plot, and that theme is of balance. And yeah, someone, looks like Lazy said it, FF3 in many ways is a beta of FF5. This is the first game to include jobs, a job system. It's a really, really basic form of job system and does some things that I hate, but it is nevertheless a job system. And I'll talk more about that when we actually get there. Oh my gosh, I'm going to fail at pronouncing this. Esquadro? Hi. Darkness. Your name is now Darkness. They tried with the job system. They actually had a proper final boss song for the first time. This is the beginning of that concept. This was something, I've talked about this before, this is something Nobuo Uematsu had been pushing for some time. He felt, as several other of the development team felt, that a final boss should be something special. It should be something where you do new stuff, you put new tech in, or you put a lot of effort and work into it. And so the concept of a final boss was actually kind of, new to RPGs, or at the very least, I shouldn't say that, new to this team. And so this was the first time he had succeeded actually pushing for that concept. So we actually do have a final boss song for the first time in FF history with the Cloud of Darkness. By the way, I may refer to her as the Cloud periodically. That's because that is how I think of her, because she actually has been both the Cloud of Darkness and the Cloud of Light. The Cloud herself is basically a force of balance, whether it is trying to imbalance or to rebalance. It depends on your interpretation. If we were to take any of Dissidia as canon, it's probably for the balance side, not the imbalance side, but regardless. One quick thing, if anybody wants to guess for the encounter counter, now is the time. I'm actually going to kind of, I'll go ahead and link that in chat really quick there. Now is the time, trust me. For reasons that will become apparent very quickly, I don't want people to be guessing too far into the game, okay? So without further ado, we are of course playing the Steam version, which is not working, because why would it be? I mean, that'd just be crazy for that to actually work as soon as I fire it up. It's okay, I actually think I know why that's happening. And I'm wrong. Why isn't that working? Ah, there we go. Sorry, guys. Now I'll shush for the intro. Go ahead, Sonoshi. Well, we gotta put those slaves to work somehow, it did. Come on, man. Wait, what? Is it not showing up? Why is it not showing up? Hang on. So you'll notice that the tendency towards crystalline stuff continues in the FF series. What? Hang on, guys. Such a pain. Something about the Steam version of the FFs is just resistant to streaming. This is not unique to FF3DS. Wouldn't normally be an issue. It's just an issue because I'm streaming, but, you know, it's still kind of a pain. Come on, go to white. There we go. Nope, needs to be a little bit bigger. God damn it. There we go. Sorry about that. Bosses do count as encounters, just like they always have. Okay, so. Without further ado. Actually, one other thing I want to mention is that, well, I guess I'll talk about it as we go through. Let's just start. Ow! I didn't see that hole there. What have I gotten myself into now? So this is, oh yeah, we're actually obviously locking in the names now. This is Heroes. Oops, hang on. Okay, game. You gonna let me? There we go. Heroes. And we got a goblin! So, this can be a little slow. I'll be honest. The combat in FF3DS, especially on the DS, is a little plodding. It's okay, though. It speeds up quite a bit if you set this up right. And it is faster on the Steam version than the DS version, although only by a little bit. We beat FF1 in about 3 hours. Jack of all Keyblades. We beat FF2 in 8 hours. Those were monsters? Why do I get the feeling this is not the safest place to be? That's cool. We're gonna config a couple things. Also, one thing that I find much better about this version than the DS version, this transition here into menuing took forever on the DS version. It actually got to the point where I was actually irritated at having to sit and go into menus, to the point where I basically didn't actually want to go into menus half the time. Whoops, wrong button. Well, we were cheating, Jack of all Keyblades. Is it this? Ah, whatever. So, as I actually already proved last week when I was doing some setup stuff, if you don't level in this area, you're screwed. The boss of this area will absolutely destroy you. So obviously we need to go get some leveling done. And by leveling, I mean cheating our balls off. So we're going to go ball cheat really quick here. If you give me a moment. So we're going to set... Hey, Sith Lord Darg. We'll set that. And... yeah, that's good enough. We'll just do that for now. Not quite, Jack. We died, I think it's 12 times going through FF2. These better work. I mean, we set these up during the setup, so no reason it shouldn't. Okay, we are now level 15. Excellent. So now we're going to do... we're just going to do this. We're just going to keep going for a bit. New job acquired. Actually, let's go ahead and try that. Alright. So we're just kind of wandering through this random dungeon we found. We're not really sure what's up with this place. It's kind of weird, honestly. I have no idea, Darkrai. I guess we'll find out. So, Crystal. ZOMG. I probably should have healed before this. Oh, crap. An evil creature attacks the heroes. Boss battle! So we didn't really level too much, so I'm hoping that level 15 is sufficient. Looks like we might be screwed. Hang on. What? Well, shoot. We may have to restart. Whoops. Keep hitting that button by accident there. Ah, the swamp. How many of you were actually here for the swamp last time around? Yeah, I think we're okay. It's okay, we got a little bit of exp after that fight. You have been chosen! Huh? Who's that? Who's there? Warrior from the land of darkness, you have been chosen as the bringer of hope. So that's one of the crystals from 3. This is also the first time the crystals were actually sentient sapient beings. Not the last time. This will actually be true in 4 and in 5 as well. We must find the others. Find our last hope of the light. We must save the light and end the darkness. And then it teleports us up top. So, one of the things I both like and don't like about this game is the fact that it explains why you're strong. In FF1, you're just heroes who are leveling. In FF2, anyone could be strong. Anyone could be a hero, as long as they actually put themselves to it and committed to it. In FF3, we are empowered. Now, I do kind of like it when a setting actually bothers to have an explanation for why the heroes can stand up to everything else, right? I enjoy that concept. But at the same time, it is kind of... It's almost a cheat, isn't it? It's like, without the crystals, we'd just be 4 kids. We would always stay freelancers, and we'd never be able to actually accomplish, much of anything, really. At least in lore. But I do, at the same time, I really like the idea of an in-lore explanation for things like leveling or becoming more powerful or whatever, right? FF5 did this as well with the same thing, the crystals. FF6 kind of does this with Magicite, FF7 does this with Materia, FF8 does this with GFs, and so on. Not every FF does this. It's just a cool concept, I think. But whether you're going to like it or not is kind of going to depend on your opinion on the matter. So, let's go ahead and head in here. Can I job now? I should be able to job. Nope. Okay, whatever. Now, I think it matters on an individual basis how much I enjoy it. For example, I think 5 is probably one of the better games to pull that off. 5 and 7, actually, both. There are switches that open hidden passageways. This is actually a tutorial. No, I agree, Leander. I guess the reason why I like this kind of concept when it's done properly is because the opposite is worse to me. If you were just 4 kids, and that's it, and then you manage to accomplish, these meta-human feats, my head just kind of tilts a little bit. But I have to admit, I also equally enjoy the concept of an ordinary person being able to accomplish extraordinary things. Probably the best example off the top of my head of an ordinary person being able to actually keep up and, you know, accomplish amazing things is actually Zelda Windwaker. For those of you not aware, Zelda Windwaker, they better not have thought about it. Zelda Windwaker, the Link in that particular game, he's not the destined child. He's not the ancient hero of the bloodline. He's not anything. He's just some kid who wanted to go get his sister back and through perseverance managed to accomplish it, right? Now, it is worth noting that in Wind Waker, you can manifest the Triforce of Courage, which is what he actually does. So I suppose that is kind of a mix, like Takoida's mentioning here. Hey, Clavier. Excuse me, Clavier. I shouldn't actually respond to that, sorry, I shouldn't say hi. I ignore you, Clavier! So, let's talk to the Sage. Hey, Sage dude! You've come, heroes. So it is you who have been chosen. You must understand your meeting with the crystal was not happenstance. It was the crystal's will. You have been chosen. Chosen for what? A long time ago, a traveler came to me carrying a newborn child. His face was covered in soot. His clothes were burned to tatters. The child he carried in his arms was you. To think, even as a newborn, you are already destined to be chosen by the crystal. You must now set forth on your journey. See, this is why I mention I like this concept when it's pulled off well, because here we are the destined children. And knowing the full lore of this game, there's not really a good reason why we're the destined children. We just kind of are. And I'm not really sure why. Oh, I might be here too early. Now, for those of you not aware, we are not native inhabitants. The 4 children that we're playing at are actually all orphans who were left here by Sid. Yes, really. I must have missed something. Hang on. It's okay, it's a ghost. Don't worry, don't worry. Tutorial. Ah! Right, that's the scene I'm missing. I knew there was a scene I was missing. And should be, yep, here we go. No, different Sid. Ghosts don't exist. Go there and prove it yourself. You don't have the guts. You're a coward. Yes, I am a coward. I am... Don't. Hey, don't. What's going on? It's heroes! Let's get out of here! Hey, wait, don't! You don't have to run away from me! Oh, God. Fear. Thank you. M.T. Klein. I'm not a coward, but I know I have to be stronger. Really? Interesting. But I can't ask for heroes' help. Heroes' help. I'll show them. Oh, hello, heroes. I'm picking flowers. Zeros don't need flans. Man, we certainly didn't need any flans back in FF2, did we? Oh my gosh. Suddenly, Tidus happens. Hang on, where's the Tidus counter? There it is. And thank you, Shadow Machine. Okay. So now we should go to Ghost Town. Yeah, I have to admit, so, like I said, I like a lot of the concepts of this game, but they're very, very, very basic. I mentioned before that I kind of like Mystic Quest because it's just adventure, let's go, let's have fun. That's kind of the same feeling I get from this game. There is a plot here, there is a theme here, there is some characterization here, I talked about all this before. But ultimately, this is basically just 4 kids going off on an adventure. It is much more lighthearted in tone. I actually feel personally that someone involved in FF2, whether the writers themselves, or the executives involved, or like the marketing team, someone sat down with the makers of Final Fantasy III, of Squaresoft, and was like, guys, tone it down a bit. FF2 was really, really dark. And now, I know some people disagree with me on that, and that's fine. See you around, Aded. But there is no denying that even the original version of FF2, for the time, was an exceptionally dark game. This, by contrast, is probably the single most lighthearted of the Final Fantasy series, not counting Mystic Quest and maybe World of Final Fantasy. This is extremely lighthearted. This is, like FF1, adventure! You know, there's a couple of serious things that happen, but for the most part, we're just here to have fun, even in lore. So, yes, it is a fun game, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I still enjoy 3DS, even though I would put it towards the bottom of the list of FFs for me, in terms of overall quality. I still enjoy playing it. Don't! It's me, Heroes! Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, don't. Why'd you run off on your own? What are you trying to prove, anyway? Let me go with you, Heroes. I want to show everyone I'm not a weakling. I did manage to come here all by myself. You'll take me with you, Heroes. Won't you? Well, alright. That's what you want. Don't has joined the party. Yeah, World of Final Fantasy did get really dark in a couple of specific things. The, really messed up nature of the Bahamut Federation is a good example of that. So, as with most of the earlier FFs, this is a pretty grindy game. Don't worry, we won't be grinding. We're cheating. But, it's good. I absolutely recommend it, Clavier. I have a review up on my channel if you want to go just watch that. Yes, Churen, that is the one. If you want the 3-second soundbite version of my review of World of Final Fantasy, it's what Mystic Quest should have been. Okay, so... like, where are the ghosts? Shouldn't I be investigating the ghosts? I mean... oh, there we go. I feel so empty. Curse that Jinn. So I actually think this is kind of clever. Most games would probably have tried to turn these ghosts into actual ghostly apparitions or whatever. Here they just do the outline thing. And you might be like, why'd they do the outline thing? Well, if you've played the original NES version, this is how they did the ghost thing. Remember, this is an NES game originally, and they didn't know how to make people like ghosts, so they just made these little 2D models like that. And so that's how they did it. It's a nice touch, and I think it actually translates surprisingly well into the 3D format. Only the power of the mithril can banish the Jinn. That's why the Jinn cursed this town once it found out how the nearby mines were packed with the stuff. Out of there! Sid's the name. I'm from Canaan, but I've been stuck here ever since Nell Valley got blocked by a giant rock. Top of that, I got a curse cost along with the rest of these folks. Ain't that a trip and a half? Heroes! We don't need a plan. Sorry. Say, if I'll lend you my airship, do you lads think you can help me and these other saps? From what I hear, this curse can be dispelled through the power of a mithril ring. Unfortunately, we seem to be all out of mithril rings here. Even if we could get the mithril, Taka the smith has been turned into a ghost himself, and his daughter, the apprentice, has gone missing. My airship's hidden in the desert west of here. Use it to find a way to lift this curse. Keep in mind you can get on or off the airship by doing this tutorial. You got that? So yes, that's Sid. 3's Sid. I actually kind of like 3's Sid, but admittedly, part of that's for a reason that I'll talk about when we get there. Hang on, right. So, third character. Gotta have the female of the group. 3 guys, 1 female. Isn't that like the norm for everything? Yeah, so we're 40 minutes in, and we've got an airship. I can ask you the same thing. This is Sid's airship, and he's letting us use it. Yes, I have hypoxia. So, Refia shall be named... Need. I'm Need, and I'll have you know that my father and I forged the parts for this airship back in Kazus. So that means you're the blacksmith's daughter? You have to help us make a mithril ring. Yes, that's the only way we'll be able to lift the curse on Kazus. I can't. I can't make mithril rings. I didn't study that far. I didn't want to. Swell. I don't think Sid's going to be particularly happy with that news. Wait. I know where we can find a ring. My father forged a mithril ring for King Sasune a long time ago. He should still have it. Let me go with you. I can't make mithril rings, but I want to help my father and the people of Kazus. I think she should come with us, heroes. And it's not because I have a crush on her. Yeah, me too. Slacking off saved her from the curse, so maybe that luck might rub off on us. Hey! Not funny. Need has joined the party! Hey, Blue Wolf. Oh, right. I have to actually take off. Yeah, so far we've had 3 encounters, I think? Hang on. 4. We've had 4 encounters, sorry. So we get our first airship. Now, I've talked many times about the freedom point. FF3 doesn't actually have a proper freedom point. It has freedom points. It's much more Metroid-y, and in that way it actually follows a lot of the FF1 model. You actually get, let's see, you get this airship, then you get a ship, then you get another airship, then you get another airship, then you get another airship. Oh, and by the way, one of those airships can go underwater, and one of those airships can go over mountains. I feel like I'm actually missing some in there, but the point is, you get quite a few vehicles in this game, and each one basically allows more of the terrain to be accessed. So I don't know about you guys. When I first played this game was after I'd played FF6. I was already pretty far into the FF series by this point in time. Actually, I think it was after I played No, it was after 6, before 7, I think. It was around when 7 came out. Anyways, so I was like, yeah, airship! Airship? Airship? So this is the totality of what we can explore with the first airship. This is it. We cannot go over the mountains. And so we can access that town, this castle, and that cave. That's it. You think that's funny enough? Well, just wait. And the final cart party member. A terrible curse has befallen the people in Capsule Sasune while I was gone. Only the power of the mithril ring may save them, I am told, but Kazus is suffering the same fate as Sasune. I must do something, but... Oh, hang on. I can... I'll check. I'll check in a minute, Takoida. I am the daughter of the blacksmith of Kazus. The king must still have the ring my father made him. We've come to borrow the king's mithril ring to save Kazus. Will you let us through? An audience with the king. Yes, I believe I can arrange that. Come, I'll be waiting in the throne room. So this is Ingus, and he is a dingus. Of the 4 characters they invented for the DS version, he is my least favorite. Ah, I can turn the music down. Here, we'll try that. Let me know how that is, guys. The entire game, Jack of Keyblades, it's the smallest FF ever. So I'll just run around for a bit, see if the music sounds okay volume now. Just kind of talking. Okay. Remember, separate volume sliders are your friend, programmers of the future. I'm a ghost. Yeah, there's a lot of ghosts here. It's actually really hard for me to see them on the terrain, but whatever. Heroes don't need ghosts. The Jinn's curse has befallen us all, and I am no exception. Sire, these younglings have come to seek the mithril ring to counter the curse. Younglings? Well, let me get my lightsaber really quick. Oh, sorry. I would grant you this boon, however my daughter holds the ring, and she went missing shortly before the curse was cast upon us. If the princess holds the ring, the Jinn may have taken her. If it is so, I fear for my precious Sarah. The Jinn must have taken her to the cave to the north. Don't worry, sir. We'll get her back. Sire, I would like to ask for your leave to accompany these brave souls to the sealed cave and rescue Lady Sarah. So this is... lands. And we can officially lock down FF3. Whoops. Oops. Again. There we go. You have my leave plans, unless there are any objections. Of course not. His sword is worth twice that of any of these two. Now, that's not fair. But I agree having one of the king's men with us would help us a lot. So let's look at our initial party. And by initial, I mean our only party ever. We've got a random kid, a random cowardly kid who happens to be decent with magic, a very strong woman. She is actually the best physical fighter of the team. And of course, she's the blacksmith's daughter, and a sword of the realm who's kind of a dingus. There is only one optional boss in this game, and I will tell you a story about him when we get there. I've told it before, but I'm going to tell it again because screw you. We will also not be fighting this boss. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take this moment to discuss something about this game that kind of makes me tilt ahead. There's no reason to fight the Iron Giant. There really isn't. Alright, here's the Iron Giant. Alright, moving on. I'll talk about him, but there's no reason to fight him. There's... No, guys. There's no reason to. The Iron Giant is also a very, very boring boss. I hope so, Jack of all Keyblades. That is the idea. Let me talk about one of the reasons why this game just kind of makes me go... And it's very hard for me to judge properly. Actually, you missed one part of him, Panic. He has lots of health, lots of damage, and he gets 4 actions per round. Which is unheard of. Very few enemies in this game actually get 4 actions a turn. And most of his actions are AoEs. But he is a very, 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 very boring form of difficulty. Yay, money. Is there anything down here? No? Okay. Well, whatever. Oh, well. So why is he there? Because they wanted to add a super optional boss to the game? Seriously, there is no lore. There is nothing. The Iron Giant is probably the worst super boss of the series, I'd say. Well, it's worth noting that Ingus is a little bit of a poofster. I'm saying that wrong. He's a good swordsman, but his... Think of it as the difference between Cyan and Sabin. Sabin is obviously stronger than Cyan, but truth be told, Cyan could probably beat Sabin in a one-on-one fight. That's the difference between Refia, Sabin, and Cyan, Ingus. Where is it? So this is, I think, the first game to introduce hidden passageways. And... Oh yeah, by the way, they added something which kind of sucks in this game, which is this. So, you notice it sparkles when you zoom in, but it only sparkles when you zoom in. Yeah, I didn't even realize that was the switch. Toughest option ball in the FF. Oh, jeez. Well, the weakest is... Man, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Give me a minute to think about that. So there's Princess Sarah, who for some reason is wearing that. I got nothing. Milady, you must hurry back to the castle. We will take care of the rest here. But before you go, we need to borrow your mithril ring. There is no need. I will go with you. I have come here to banish the Jinn and save my people. Just like you. Her Royal Highness has spoken. What do we do? She should be alright, as long as plans look after her. No harm will come to Lady Sarah as long as I live and breathe. Thank you, everyone. So, they have the guest party members thing in this, but it's a little bit different, because what happens is, periodically... so first of all, you get little cutscenes with her, like this. Oh, I should tell you about saving and quick saving. And she gives you a tutorial. Most of these are more interesting than this. Each of them has, each guest character has, 3 or 4 little dialogues you can get from them while they're in the party. Think of this as a prototype of the Thoughts system that's in FF4DS. Most of it's just a little bit of extra lore. Gameplay-wise, the guest characters pop in and randomly do an attack on the enemy. Most of those attacks are actually quite useful. Some of them are not. Plants. Where am I going? See, Ozma I have a hard time calling difficult. I mean, he's a very clever boss. There is, of course, a way to completely control him, as has been proven. You know, level 1 Freya and all that. What's that? Encounters? Where we're going, we don't need... encounters. There's the boss. Prepare to meet your doom, Jin. This ring will banish you. I guess I have my ring on my other hand. This ring will banish you once and for all. It doesn't work. Your bauble has no power over me now that I am infused with the power of darkness. Pretty sure the other 3 are at level 1 right now, but I'm not too worried about it. Okay, I'm a little worried about it. Okay, I'm a lot worried about it. I need you guys to live through this. By the way, there's about 30 Phoenix Downs in this game. You can't buy them. I'm serious. So you notice how the enemy has 2 actions per hour 1. This is how they balanced the game. Because, so, they were having trouble getting all... So this is, in the original NES version, just like FF1 and FF2, they had 9 enemy formations and 16 enemy formations. And both of them kind of sucked. No, you cannot buy Phoenix Downs in this game. You can steal them from a specific item. That's how you're supposed to get Phoenix Downs if you want more than the 30 or so. So anyways, oh my goodness, really? Anyway, so they couldn't have that many enemies on screen at a time. So what they did was they buffed every enemy in the game and made most of them get multiple actions per turn. And that's how they balanced it. Now the catch is, this actually in many ways makes the DS version harder than the NES version. It's not literally harder. I mean, there are aspects of FF3 NES which are much worse than this. But still. So the reason this is sucking is because I don't have access to my jobs yet. As soon as I get access to my jobs, we're going to be doing a lot better. Although I suppose I could do something really quick here if you give me a moment. We're going to do this really quick. And I feel like having a little more strength. What do you guys think? I mean, my strength is decent at 22, but honestly, I'd really rather have more than 22. So let's make 222 strength. How's that sound? Jobs should be pretty much right after this. Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised Sarah didn't pop in there. I was actually hoping she would, because, you know, I figured this would be a good time to show that off. No, I want to keep leveling next time. You cannot escape the ring's power now! Oh, much easier. Jack of all Keyblades. Much easier. Hey, what's going on? You must return to the castle, milady. Do not fear for us. We'll be fine. Also, Ingus totally wants to romance Princess Sarah. Just saying. That's actually part of his character arc, is that he is in love with Princess Sarah. It's okay. They're about the same age. Good morning, Kamaruska. So we should be getting jobs now, basically. So keep in mind, up until this point, we haven't actually been imbued with power in lore. The crystal's just been like, you. I forget which crystal this is. This is the first of the 4. And this one's like, hey, you. I'm going to imbue you with my power. And in this case, the power is getting the jobs, which are really, really useful and basically required. I imagine that you could have a, you know, all freelancer run of this game. It would be really, really boring. Because all it would be attacking and using items, and that's it for the whole game. It would also be really, really grindy. Like FF2 levels of grindy. Translation, don't do that. Oh, hey, do you know this game was made by Square Enix? But I apparently can't skip this. Whatever's going on here. Anyways, let's talk about optional bosses. So, actually, as much as Ozma is kind of an RNG, weird, scripted thing, I think Ozma is probably one of the more clever super optionals they've ever developed, because Ozma is one of those weird guys where he acts before you do because you do, and he takes into account your inputs, and if you've ever seen the actual battle script for Ozma, it is really complicated, and they spent a lot of time and thought actually figuring it out. Ozma is the super optional I have defeated the least of the FF series, not counting, you know, ones that I've only played the game once. I've only ever beaten Ozma once. Without cheating, obviously. Yeah, shortest FF ever. We did it! We beat the Djinn! We saved everyone, guys. And that was 5 encounters. God. You are our last hope. So let's go ahead and talk about something. These 4 kids are not native to the floating continent. They're actually strays, I think is actually the best way to put it. Now, if you were to give this story credence, which honestly it might not actually deserve, but if you were to give the story credence, you could say very simply that the reason these 4 kids were the ones who were chosen by the crystals was because they were the only ones who were actually part of the original world. Oh, also 1,000 years ago. Gotta have that 1,000 years ago. It's mandatory. Hi, Kupo. So, I mentioned how this is the first time they did jobs, so I'm willing to give it a little bit of, you know, slack. Thing is, the job system kind of sucks. So here's how it works, right? Your job level is part of the calculations of what you can do. Like, the higher your job level of White Mage, the more your heals heal for. The higher your Black Mage job, the more damage your spells do. The higher your Monk job, the more damage you do with physical hits. Makes sense, right? The job level is part of the equations of most of these. So you do want your job level nice and high. Oh, also, even in the NES version, they had different graphics for the different jobs. Which may not sound like a big deal, but was kind of impressive given the fact that they had to do the palette swapping thing and the, I think, 16 or so jobs, something like that. Anyways. So we're all monks, as Snow would be proud. This is actually going to really suck when we get to the mini dungeon and the Toad dungeon, but anyways. You'll notice we've got down arrows on us. That's because when you switch to a job, you are nerfed for a few rounds, and it depends how many total battles you have to go through before that nerf goes away. Oops, wrong way. Yes, they were all donated to be monks. Point in fact, I think I'm actually going to turn off. Where's the... Well, actually, the NES version and the DS version both use different ways to limit you on switching jobs. Oh, it's up here. Gosh darn it. you may or might not think, well, wait, why would they even do that? And indeed, they would get rid of those limitations when it came to FF5 and FFT and FF10-2. But here in the very first implication of job systems, so we're nerfed for a few rounds, and then we become acclimated, basically, to the job. And then the job starts working properly. And the original thing, you had to actually spend job points in order to switch. And job points were things you got after battle. Also, some of the jobs, this is the first attempt at jobs, so I don't blame them for this, but the jobs are really imbalanced. Even in the DS version, they're pretty imbalanced. Now, in the original NES version, they were super imbalanced, because it was intended to be a tiered system. The first few jobs, some of them are just vastly superior to others. The second bundle of jobs, these two are the good ones. And then when you finally get Sage and Ninja, there's actually no reason to be any other job other than Sage and Ninja. Sage was the ultimate caster, Ninja was the ultimate melee, and there was no debating this. That was it. DS version nerfed Ninja and Sage quite a bit, but buffed several of the other ones to make up for it. The most powerful job in the DS version, not counting the Onion Knight optional stuff, which is debatable, is actually Geomancer, believe it or not. Although even that kind of depends on some RNG. But if Geomancer casts Shadow Flare, whatever you're looking at is going to die. So pro tip, if you're having trouble with late game, Geomancer. Alright, so with the Jin... I mentioned earlier that these 4 kids are not actually native to this area. This is never stated outright. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did. I gave the preface. Let me just re-emphasize this preface, okay? We don't have a lot of behind-the-scenes info on this game, or a lot of, there's not really a lot of Ultimania I can refer to like I normally can. I can't say definitively this is what this is. So throughout this lore run for FF3, I'm going to be saying things, and I don't feel like saying, it is my speculation that, based on my analysis, that, I think this, okay? I will make a point of saying whenever I know something definitively, but otherwise, pretty much everything I'm going to be saying story-wise is just as a result of my analysis of the game, or of my speculation, okay? Boilerplate. So, now that I've gotten that out of the way, you can go ahead and insert the first part of the sentence here for yourself. I think that the reason that these 4 are the specific 4 who were unaffected by the Jin's curse is because they're not native to the area, because the Jin was actually only able to curse everyone once it was imbued with the power of darkness given to it by Xande. And as a consequence, couldn't affect people who were outside of that particular cycle, or were specifically chosen by the crystal as a result of being outside of the cycle. I'll talk about that a little bit more later when we get to that. By the way, we're on a floating continent right now. When I first learned that blew me away. I'll talk about that more later, though. Oh my god! You've returned! Your courageous deeds have saved the kingdom. You have my deepest gratitude. Thanks, sire, but we gotta go. We've been chosen to be the Warriors of Light. The Warriors of Light, you say? Plans! Are you leaving as well? Well, I mean, I'm in this weird get-up, sire. I see. I bid you all well. Know that our hopes go with you, young champions. Yes, sire. Take this with you. It will surely prove itself useful during your journey. A magical folding canoe. Okay. Well, I'm out. Peace. So, anybody who's played FF4 DS is probably having a little bit of deja vu here. A lot of the general assets of this game... Yes, Kay. A lot of the general assets of this game were adjusted... adjusted, wrong word. Were reused when it came to making 4DS. It's the same team who made that made 3DS and 4DS. Be safe! Promise you'll come back to Sasune when your duty's done. Yeah, we'll come back after we save the world. Our job's permanent. No. Although we will be staying monk throughout the whole game. Except possibly for 2 dungeons. We might literally have to change jobs for 2 dungeons. And I'll be prepping for that just in case. There we go. Father? Ah, Need, you're all right. Oh, thank the heavens. Oh, don't cry, Father. Everyone's looking. Doesn't matter. I was so worried about you. Now let's go home. Wait, Father! Refia has left the party. Oh yeah, let's check Mognet really quick here. So there was a new side quest they added for the DS version to get the onion stuff. And that involves doing Mognet, which me and Pax did back and forth because it required actual online stuff. Whoops, I don't know why I keep going here. It was a little there. It was a thing. There we go. What's that? What do you want? Can't see I'm busy? I'm sorry. I want to go with you, but I don't think Father would let me. Oh, well, okay. So, Refia has left the party, as previously stated. Well, let's go find Sid. Hey, Sid! Sid looks like this in this version. Good work. I knew you'd pull it off the moment I saw you. I'm guessing you can make better use of my airship than I can myself. First, I want you to take me back to Canaan. Mrs. Sid's been waiting a mighty long time for me to come back. Heroes don't plans. Or grammar, apparently. Alright, come on, Sid. And yeah, no, Mognet was an invention for the DS version. Oh, right. We left our airship up here, because the crystal teleported us. It's okay, we have a canoe now. Actually, it would be Heroes Don't Plans Sid. Should be up here? Nope. Thought it was upper left. No? I don't remember where Sid's house is. Yes, I will, Darkrai. I'm debating turning off the no encounters thing just to level them. And I have a bit of an idea on how to do that. To maximize my exp. In terms of writing, pretty far towards the bottom, honestly, Norlex. As I said before, this game has a lot of fun, but writing is not its strong suit. I thought he had... Okay, well, let's take him to the blacksmith then. Oh, you're right. Sid lives in the... God damn it. Sid lives in the next town. The one past the boulder. Which very, very conveniently fell. For some reason. It probably is in the upper left. God, have I mentioned how amazing No Encounters is? Every game should have No Encounters. Every single one. As an option, I mean. Here we go. Hey, Sid, you old dog. Good to see you. And not through you again. Yeah, I hear you. Say, Taka, we were thinking of busting that rock and delve with the airship. I reckon we need a mithril ram on the ship's bow. Think you can hack one together? Now, I want you to just take a moment and picture how much mithril would be needed to make a ram on an airship. Now I want you to picture the Lord of the Rings, where mithril is worth an absolutely insane amount of value. Now picture how much mithril is required, and then just put those two facts together there really quick. Agreed, Darkrai. Sterling handiwork as always, Taka, and fast too. Let's set her up and bust some boulders, yeah! Arigatori! Hoorah! Or oorah, depending on who you ask. So, first we need to get our fourth party member back, though. You guys are late! God! What? But I thought, shouldn't you be We all promised the crystal would go on our journey, and I don't want to be a smith just yet. I'm thankful to Father for taking care of an orphan like me for all these years, but this is something I have to do. Wait, you're an orphan too? Oh yeah, by the way, we're all orphans. Yes, this is the prototype. Actually, this came out after 8, so... Remember, these 4 characters were new of the DS version. In the original NES version, this was just 4 kids who happen to live here. The DS version added the extra niggle of them being not from the floating continent. So the airship just got destroyed, in case you missed that. Yes, really. I'm not kidding. We just lost the first airship. Now, that sequence of events, I want you to picture this on the NES, because the NES had a lot less cutscenes. So, we get, you know, we go down, we could talk to Sid, get access to the airship from the desert, head over to the cave directly, because there's no need to go to the castle. Go to the cave, scroll our way down, defeat the boss, okay? Go talk to Sid, get the mithril ram the thing. The whole thing takes like 10 minutes. We rammed a boulder, Gnarlex! That was the plan! Or, well, the heroes of plan. You get it. Anyways. That was actually the goal. Thanks for your help, lads. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you out. So let me explain one thing. I like the added niggle of the twist that the DS version adds with the 4 of them. What I do not like is the fact that Sid mysteriously has amnesia, or is just a dick and doesn't actually tell them about it. For those of you not aware, Sid is the one who brought these 4 here from the lower world. He should probably recognize them. But, especially when they talk about being imbued by the crystals and being orphans. Because I could at least buy the fact that Sid wouldn't recognize these kids back in, you know, because he hasn't seen them in like 15 years or whatever, but I don't know. It irritates me that he keeps it from them. It just, I don't like it when a character knows the truth and just doesn't tell it because they're being a dick. Whatever. Okay, so... I want to show off something. It's not that guy. More tutorialization. Heal up really quick. Oh, right, we don't need to. I mean, it kind of is a little basketball scene. It's just a little better done. Okay, so... in the original game, in the original NES version, after you do this particular quest, Sid stands right about here. And you talk to him, and he's like, I'm ready to do anything! And he, like, jumps to the right. Or actually, I'm sorry, he's actually standing over here. Sorry. And he's like, jump to the right. Like this. Then if you talk to him, he's like, I'm ready to do anything. I'm ready to do anything. And he will actually jump out of the map. So now we need to go find an elixir for her. Obviously, he does not jump out of the map in the DS version. Unless he does, and I'm just not aware of it. Okay, so... wait, no, I didn't mean... yeah, whatever. You know, I'd make fun of her dancing, but I can't dance that well. So, this is a good time to mention that the people who made this game, Matrix Software, walked into this prepared and how do I put this? How many of you guys have worked on a long-term project in your lives? I mean, I have, so I can raise my hand on this one. Doesn't have to be a video game, just something that is a major, long-term, multi-year project, right? There we go. I mention this because when Matrix Software was first contracted for this, they were contracted to do remakes for the Final Fantasy series. Now, the original intention was for 4 games. Now, I have to add a little asterisk to this, because I actually went back after someone questioned me on this to find the original interview where I read this, and I haven't actually been able to find it. So, I admit this might be my memory being a little bit off. I've talked about this before. We know for definitive fact that they had sat down and planned for 3 games. They sat down and they said, we're doing these 3 games as, you know, what we now refer to as a proper remake. FF3, FF4, and FF5, right? So when they sat down to make this, they built this engine, and this was intended to be the engine that was going to be the engine across all 3 games. And as such, it's one of the reasons why, at least superficially, several aspects of this game you could see shades of when you get to FF4 on the DS. It's also part of why this version is probably their weaker entry, because honestly, this is kind of a weak remake. It's still a remake. It's still a proper remake, but it's at the very low end of proper remake, or just a very high end of a regular remake. And it's because they didn't really know what they were doing, and they were still getting used to all this stuff. By the time they got to FF4 DS, they had really polished and figured out what they could do, and that game is awesome. But I digress. I mention that, though, because there's quite a few aspects of this game that people who've played, you know, the DS version of 4 are probably like, hey, you know, similar animations, similar textures, similar models, all sorts of stuff like that. To this day, I don't know why they discontinued it. I didn't know this then, and I don't know it now. But for whatever reason, they decided to just stop working on the remakes. Square Enix pulled the plug on the project and said, nope. And, yeah, the end, really. I don't know why. On an unrelated note, not too long later, they came out with a game called Bravely Default, which is basically a remake of FF5. And if you think I'm kidding, I want you to seriously think about this game, or excuse me, look at FF4 DS, look at FF5, look at Bravely Default, and then tell me it's not obvious. It's kind of funny because Bravely Default sold really well. By the way, if you haven't played Bravely Default, all I'm going to say is that the narrative flow of Bravely Default is so similar to FF5, it could actually be confused for a reboot, or not reboot, reimagining, that's the word, a reimagining of FF5. Yeah, exactly, Renegade. Oh my god, Bravely Default is selling well. And it's true, Bravely Default was kind of a happy accident, so honestly, I really don't know what the hell they were thinking. Okay. So now... we did that. We can't do that. Did I miss something? Yeah, no kidding, Stem. Don't spoil it, though, for anybody who hasn't played it. Right. I need to... That's right, okay. Where's the... I should probably buy some spells, because I might need them in a bit here. You know what? Hang on. Yeah, but we are going to violate the monk rule because we quite literally have to in order to progress through the game. So that's going to be a thing. Give me a second. I need a little more money. I do love being able to just type in a few things and instantly have stuff. This is why every game should have console commands, damn it. Build this stuff in. Don't make me do it myself. Come on. Oh, there she is, I think. Oh, God! Fear. Thank you, Elder Scrolls Curious. And yes, Dash, that was his frickin' name. So, why would you go to the mountains to the east where a dragon is said to dwell? What would drive you to such a place alone? Awkward exposition. So that's Desh's girlfriend. This would be a good time to mention that Desh is a shameless flirt, who will actually flirt with Refia to his detriment, I guess is the best way to put that. Ah, those deathbed expositions. Son, I want you to go to the third room from the right. Oh, damn it. Hang on. Let me just move this over here and move this over here so it's easier to keep track of. There. That's on the right, that's on the bottom. Tidus fantasy must happen. Or maybe it won't. We've got a long time till we get to FF10, so who knows. There we go. I don't know, Cashel. I think we're at the 90 range right now. Bahamut! He looks kind of weird here. I'd say this is the first Bahamut, but that's actually a total lie. This is the second Bahamut. Possibly the third. Well, the Bahamut carried us to its nest to be eaten by its babies. Can't believe you get caught by that dragon. Wow, dude. Yeah, like you're to the left. You got caught too, didn't you? Well, yeah, you got me. My name's Desh. Nice to meet y'all. Hey, what's up? Ah, dragon's back. It's Bale. Bale? Don't even think about fighting that thing. Listen to me and just run away, run away. So you might wonder why they're saying that so much. It's because the strategy to this fight is to run. You need to run. Which is that fun, I think. And you have a very high chance of running from that fight. I don't know what happens if you kill him, and I haven't saved yet, so I don't want to find out. So there's the mini spell, which we'll need in a minute. So Desh has amnesia. Roll my eyes. Hey Desh, did you know that Selena's been worried sick about you, waiting for you to come back? Yeah, see, even though I lost my memory, I know there's something I gotta do out here. I'm sure it'll sort us out somehow. I got you guys to count on. Desh has given you the spell mini. Oh, and he's joined the party. Come on, let's get out of here before that thing comes back. Jump! We're all Dragoons now. We don't get Dragoons till later. Kinda sucks, actually. I'll give him mini. I'm just gonna turn him into a white mage now. Get that over with. Or descendant, Horatius. I came to take some of this strange water back to the gnomish village in the southern woods. Only gnomes can enter that village. Here, I have one extra stroll of the spell mini. Thanks, but we already had one. Depends on my mood, Hazeblaze. Like, I think several of the 2D sprite games work very well. Tactics comes to mind immediately, as does, there we go. As does, FF6. But, I also think several of the 3D games look really, really nice. So, you know. I do like what they did with this place. Welcome to Tozus. We're Teeny and you're Weenie. You're the Itsy to our Bitsy.
no, my God.
Oh, sorry. Wrong thing to say. For some reason, there's a Moogle here. Nice place. I actually don't know who did the designs for this one. I guess I don't need those. The Popeye sprites. With the giant mouths that are always hanging open for some reason. Okay. Ugh, need antidote. Try fooling me with a placebo and I'll thump you. But I have an antidote. Whew, you saved me. That'll teach me to randomly sample berries in the woods. This is the doctor, by the way. You deserve a reward. I'll share with you one of my most treasured secrets. Why is every candle a switch in this game? Go down the stairs at the end, and you'll find your way back to Moralka Basin. Woo. Hey, a Phoenix down. 2 Phoenix downs! So this is one of the weirder dungeons, because as you can see, we're still minied. This dungeon sucks if you're not ready for it. You'll notice we, of course, have no random encounters, which is fine. But you are minied for this dungeon. For those of you not aware of what mini means, it means your physical damage goes down the gutter. You either need to run from every fight here, or have mages. Oh, and by the way, there's a boss you have to fight when you're minied. I'm actually kind of curious how that fight's going to go. In fact, actually, while I'm thinking about it. Just in case, because I really don't want to have to deal with this, we're going to turn him into a black mage. Just to be safe. And give him all those spells I just taught myself. Whoops. Okay, we're maxed. The most annoying status ailment? Probably Confuse for me, personally. And yeah, you can't actually just remove it, unfortunately. Vikings we are! Kings of the high seas, yar! Where we used to be. The earthquake woke a great dragon from its sleep, and it wasn't too happy to see us. It sank all our ships! All 3 of them, maybe? But we can't slay a sea dragon with just 1 ship! Well, we can! See you around, Casual. Whoop, 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 didn't mean to do that. Yeah, as much as I say that this game is kind of lackluster, I don't mean in the effort involved. They did do quite a few really good and amazing stuff for here. It's just, in many ways, this feels like the Mega Man 1 to FF4DS's Mega Man 2. You can still do that, though. So the Marlboro is kind of cheating, though, isn't it? You might wonder why I'm still minied. Whoops. Did I not get the eye? Oh, gosh, I didn't get the eye. Hang on. It's because there's basically 2 mini dungeons right after the other. Have you not played any of them, Hazeblaze? Well, I mean, in fairness, we are literally imbued heroes, so I guess that makes a degree of sense. Never mind the blood, guys. It's cool. There we go. Yeah, run things. Hasn't been much to run since that sea dragon appeared. Destroyed most of our ships, though. They look like capable adventurers. If you manage to defeat the dragon, our best ship, the Enterprise, is yours. So, just to be clear, if we help you to get to the point where you can get your ship out on the waters and stop being cooped up here, you'll give us your only remaining ship. Viking's honor, if you manage to make it back, of course. Also, he's telling this to 4 kids. We're talking like 15, 16, 17 range here. I agree with that, Leander. This is a very light game, and not just in terms, like... Okay, so I've mentioned before, like, my analogy of a really good game being meat, right? I've used that analogy before. Like, I want something I can sink my teeth into, you know? This would be cheesecake, this game. Now, it is cheesecake with a few irritations. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But it is still very cheesecake. It's like, those are really good, but you're not intended to really savor it. It's not intended to be something you really spend time on. It's not something that really sticks with you afterwards. It's just, man, that was a nice cheesecake. This would also be an interesting game to basically play in between some of the heavier games. Oh yeah, by the way, if you just get on the ship, you die. Although I'm not sure what would happen with cheats, but, you know, bad things, I'm sure. I'm actually going out of my way not to fight any of the you're supposed to lose fights, because I don't actually know what will happen when it comes to that. A perfect cheesecake would be World of Final Fantasy, in my opinion, of course. So, yeah, second mini-dungeon. I do like how they zoom up everything here. The other FFs? FF1 would be a good appetizer, like a small quesadilla or something like that. FF2 would be a really, really nice cup of coffee. Like, I could tell that there's a lot of effort there, and I could appreciate it from an intellectual perspective, but I just can't enjoy it that much. FF3 would be cheesecake. FF4 would be like a really, really good gourmet burger with like fixings and sides and you know, like some nice steamed Parmesan broccoli on the side, you know, that kind of a thing. FF5, FF5 is difficult. I'd have to think about that. FF6 would be a full course banquet for me and for my friends. Ah, there's our boss. This freaking rat. So, okay, confession time. How many of you died a lot to this rat when you first played this game? Now, I am, of course, referring to the NES version. In the DS version, I knew this was coming, and in fact, the moment I got jobs, I pretty much focused on... It was like white mage, black mage, and that was my party until I finished this dungeon. Then I started varying it up a little bit. But that's because I knew this was coming. I still haven't saved. Squeak! Who you be? You no take shiny? Princess. Yeah, actually, that's... FF5 is a really good buffet. I like that parallel. Oh yeah, by the way, Desh is actually probably one of the better guest characters. He casts level 2 spells, and he uses them semi-frequently. So... he's kind of cool. God damn it. Hang on. I would kind of like to get through this with people alive so they could level. So we're going to do something real quick here. And adjust our int up a little bit. No, whatever. Well, Don't gets to not level for a bit. I didn't keep going. So FF5, I like the idea of FF5 being a really good buffet. FF6 is a giant gourmet, full, banquet spread. Oh, right, that was a fight. We have so few. I'm having the opposite problem of FF1 and FF2, guys. We have so few encounters. I'm forgetting to hit the frickin' thing. 7. Well, I mean, 7 is underneath the rotting pizza, so no. Okay, all joking aside, I think 7 is a better present thing to equate to pizza than anything else, because 7 is one of those games that. And I say pizza as opposed to a specific type of pizza, because 7 is the game that is what you make out of it. By the way, guys, I don't have save states in this, so I can only save normally. So in order to save, I have to actually go out and do it. So you guys telling me to save doesn't help me, because I literally can't right now.
Oh,
ah!
welcome. Pay close attention. Hopefully you'll learn something.
That. Quick save does this. So quick save isn't super useful. You have done well, warriors of the light. I am the Nepto Dragon, guardian of the seas. I thank you for returning my missing eye. The eye is more than a simple gem. It is my soul. Without it, my physical manifestation, the dragon, could not be controlled. Now that I am whole once more, I may rest in peace and watch over these waters. However, the water itself has lost its life. Someone created the great earthquake, and the light was pulled into the depths of the nether. Warriors of the light, I will bestow upon you the Fang of Water. It will infuse you with powers that will allow you to overcome new challenges. Now you must go and recover the light. Yeah, the other eye is for some reason. It's pretty. He's actually a one-eyed dragon. What food would I consider Dirge of Cerberus? Imagine one of those frozen TV dinners that's kind of crap, but there's like really crappy, wet, soggy spaghetti, and then like weird, like half dry, half flavorless corn, and then there's just like this brownie that's actually really good. That's Dirge of Cerberus. Now I will save. Actually, you know what? Comparing FF6 to sushi is probably not a terrible idea, because some people just don't like sushi. Not a terrible comparison. I do happen to really love sushi, too. At least good sushi. Oh, right. I need to talk to this guy. There's a couple points in this I'm just going to tell you flat up, guys. I'm going to be like, who am I supposed to talk to? Because this is one of those games where in order to progress, you have to talk to one guy, and, well, it's not always obvious what guy you're supposed to talk to. Or when. So, he gives us the Enterprise. Woo! So, let's see. FF8? What would FF8 be? Okay, I know what FF8 is. You're gonna hate me for this. No, I shouldn't make that comparison. I was gonna say FF8 is when you see on the restaurant menu. Whoop! You unplugged your headphones accidentally. FF8 is one of your. There we go. It's one of those games where you look at it. This is not actually what I mean, but what I was going to say is, you look at the restaurant menu like, man, this looks really, really good. I'll have this, and then it comes out and it's not at all what you're expecting. It's like, wait, this isn't what was on the menu. No, but that's what you ordered. But I wanted what was on the menu. But that's not actually that great of a comparison. I'd have to think about what I would call FF8. FF8 is a hot dog. I don't know what I'd call it fate. I'll have to think about that. Because he keeps dying, Online Gamer, for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's just weird. Alright, fine. Let's go ahead and level him a little bit. Just really quick. Alright. I need you to live through this fight, don't. Hi, Dash. Correct, Darkrai. You think that's weird? There's some really weird plot stuff in this game. Okay, now he's level 91. That should be good enough. What weird classes? I don't understand. Unless you're talking about what I talked about earlier, in which case... yes, I guess. Come on. There we go. So, pop quiz. Where do you go next? I'll just give you a hint. Game does not tell you where to go next. And it's not super open. And by the way, this thing is kind of slow. I mean, this is one of the slowest ships in the game, honestly. Look at this thing. Hang on. Just need to make my way north. Oh, God. Hang on. We'll just go out here. But there's a whirlpool in our way, so we're actually kind of trapped here, as you can see. That's the tower where we'll eventually lose Dash, but I don't think we're actually supposed to do that yet. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I was actually thinking we needed to go after Hein next, and it appears I'm correct, so woo! Yay for being right. Good news is, unlike some games, you can just disembark this wherever. Hey, what's up? Please don't kill me! Oh, go away, I have nothing you want! Nice place. Those soldiers made a real mess of this town, that's for sure. Get back here so I can kill you and take your stuff. Please, no. Spare my child. My only child. Look, lady. We're not here to kill you. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought those soldiers came back again. They took my husband. They took him with the others to the desert to the west. They wore the seal of Argus. My husband, I hope I haven't done anything to him. It's okay, he's just slave labor. It's cool. So, there's a lot of stuff in this game that has no explanation. I'm just going to be upfront with you about that, guys. Like, you might be like, well, why is Hein, who is a skeleton, trying to make a floating tree and slave labor? And the answer is, no. I don't know. I really don't. There's a lot of little mini quests in this game that make up the chain of the main plot. And a lot of them are just... I wasn't kidding. That's a tree. Just kind of floating around. See? Just kind of hanging out there. Doing its thing. Anyways. Yeah, I didn't know that was actually supposed to be a tree in the original NES version, to be 100% blunt. Unless they had actually... Well, I'm saying this wrong. Except for the fact that they say flat out, it's a tree. I wouldn't have known. So, I have to admit, of the many things that I like about the DS version of 3, one thing I don't like is... That does get old after a bit. I do apologize if it bothers you. That's a good question, Kay. You have any other good questions? I don't know if I know the lore of the Suikodens well enough to do that. But I'd at least consider it. No, I have not, Nils Wager, because I'm not actually the one deciding those jobs. Oh, wait, I guess I am. Then I know. I have no idea what I'm choosing. I'll have to think about that at some point. Well, with no encounters, I'm a little more inclined to explore, and I think I need to go here next, so we're going to do that. Okay, I am right. I am right. I'm going to the forest in the lower left. Woot! My memory has not completely failed me. I do actually know this game better than FF2, I swear. Just, yeah. Not actually where I want to go. Yep, whoop, there it is. Oh yeah, by the way, I wasn't kidding. We're on a floating continent. See? There's the edge. We will need the toad spell at some point. This is the village of the ancients. We are the sons and daughters of the ancients, a once great civilization, because it's a Final Fantasy game, and of course there's some ancient civilization. The trick here, this is one of the better examples of an ancient civilization in my opinion, because the ancient civilization is just ancient. These are the denizens of those who originally settled the floating continent. Now, they did build the floating continent. That's kind of impressive. But for the most part, the ancients are just people. It's just an older civilization. They're not super advanced. They're not super magical. They're just there. And I kind of like that, actually. It's almost an example of the untwist. So yeah, this is the kid who's like, go around the entire edge of the continent on a chocobo. We will not be doing that. I don't even remember what he gives you. But either way, we're not doing it. Would you believe me if I told you the ground we're standing on was a loft? Rubbish, you say? Well, nonetheless, it's true. The Tower of Owen is a pillar. The pillar that supports our continent, built by the ancients to bring balance between light and darkness. Which is why the earthquake hit here. Now, I will try Dark Angali, but no promises. So, this is a good time to talk about the plot of this game a little bit. Or the backstory. See, here's the thing. 1,000 years ago, this guy named Zand was like, dude! What kind of crappy gift is this? And came up with a plot to flood the world with an overwhelming amount of darkness. Now, this particular setting... Hey, Green Boots. This particular setting relies on a balance between darkness and light. If that darkness is upset, things get weird. This is probably a little metaphysical, but basically things go into a unique form of stasis. When I say a unique form of stasis, I mean most of the world is literally underwater. Not dead, not rotting, because they're basically in stasis while underwater. And the water isn't literally water, it's dark, it's liquid darkness. Like I said, shrug. Anyways, so the liquid darkness has risen up so that there's like two little spits of land that still stick up from out amongst it. One is where Aria is, or Aria, or however you want to say her name. And the other is the floating continent, which of course is above the clouds and therefore immune to this darkness thing. The problem is, this darkness thing doesn't just affect the area immediately below it, it also affects the area immediately above it. Even though that's actually inconsistent with the fact that certain areas above it are not affected by the stasis. So what happened, I'm just going to go and tell this all while we're sitting here. What happened is there's this airship piloted by this guy named Sid. And he was basically running to get the hell out of the world, trying to get to the floating continent while the darkness was rising up and flooding over everything. Something happened, and the darkness smashed into the airship. Everyone on board went into stasis, and the airship just kind of started to drift. The airship drifted for about a freaking millennia. Yes, really. That actually makes a lot of sense, though, as weird as that sounds. Because of the weird nature of the stasis and the fact that it'd probably take that long to get there. Either way, it drifts for a really, really long period of time. It is worth noting this is basically just bad writing that leads to this. I just want to make that clear. But anyways, it drifts for a frickin' 1,000 years. 1,000 years, until it finally enters the floating continent and destasifies. Sid is like, oh, we made it. We made it. And the 4 kids he brought with him are the 4 main party members. It is implied, although never stated outright, that he also brought several other people with him when he came here. People who were trying to flee the devastation down below. But that's never stated outright, and it's worth noting this particular plot twist is something that was added specifically for the DS version, so it was never actually intended to be part of the story, so it's never really mentioned before or again. So that happened, 15 or so years ago, back when this game started, back when all these kids first set up here. So the reason the 4 kids all live within the same area is because, they all came from the same source. Sid was like, here, adopt this people, and ran around, got Refia adopted by the smith, got Luneth adopted by the elder of Canaan, or not Canaan, Palaz? I can't remember the name of the town. Ingus was taken in by the castle. Ark was also taken in by the elder. So they're all in the same little area. So that's one of the very few things that actually makes sense with regards to this particular plot twist writing style, is that all of them would be in the same spot, because why wouldn't they be? Anywho, so the world is still in that stasis of darkness. Thank you, that's the name of the town. Now here's the problem. Here's the thing that doesn't quite make sense. We could make sense for it, but the game never bothers to explain. All of the events of the game are set off by an earthquake. The earthquake destabilizes things and allows the darkness from below, from the world down below, to seep into the continent, basically for the first time. If you'll notice, 2 of the bosses we fought so far have been infected or afflicted with, or whatever you want to call it, with the darkness from down below. The destabilization that has already flooded the world below is now very slowly starting to seep into the continent, right? Here's the catch. Where'd the earthquake come from? Now, the most logical and easiest answer is that this is just a very delayed reaction. That after, a long period of time, being up in the clouds isn't enough, and eventually the darkness just kind of starts reaching up to it. I have a slightly different answer, though. See, Desh here is one of the people from the older civilization, 1,000 years ago, down below, who helped build the floating continent to begin with. I think that the pillar that they just mentioned, the tower that we'll be going to next, I forget which, is actually a balancing agent specifically for the continent, which is what allows the continent in specific, the floating continent, to stay outside of the stasis of the rest of the world. If this is true, well, imagine for a moment that you leave a car running for 1,000 years. Let's assume gas isn't an issue. You'd think after a while some of those parts are going to start having issues, right? Anyone knows that, the more moving parts you have in a machine, the more maintenance, the more upkeep it needs, right? So the theory here, and this is my theory, and this helps to tie in all of this, is that the continent is literally projecting a sphere of protection, of balance around it. And so everything outside of that is affected by the stasis, except for the area where Arya is, because she happens to be the Maiden of Water, one of the last of her denizens, who is also balanced, all right? So Arya, not in stasis because she's a Maiden of Water. The continent is not in stasis because it is protected by this bubble, and the 4 characters are protected from the stasis because the 2, I think, crystals of light are directly imbuing them. You with me? Thus, the earthquake is caused by those gears and those parts of the Tower of Owen starting to break down just from usual wear and tear. Just from the fact that nobody's actually been maintaining this for the last 1,000 frickin' years, right? Or at least has stopped maintaining it recently, because Desh specifically got amnesia and as a result hasn't been doing his regular upkeep like they've been doing for the last 1,000 years. Ergo, tower starts to break down, cracks start to happen in this anti-stasis bubble, darkness starts to seep in, and things start to go to hell. You with me so far? Now, I hadn't talked about that, but Grizzly Nerd is, of course, correct. All of this was actually caused originally by the Warriors of Light, who was also originally caused by all the Warriors of Darkness. I'll get to the cycle and the balance stuff later when it becomes more relevant, but let's just say that, again, one of the major themes of FF3 is balance. Too much darkness, bad. Too much light, bad. And it's implied, or I shouldn't say implied, it is stated outright, that when the Warriors of Light flooded the entire world with light, it was just as bad as now when the entire world is flooded with darkness. Equally as bad. And that's actually one of the things I like most about the story of FF3, because I've always liked that concept of, balance, and too much light is bad, too much dark is bad, because that's tend to how I think in real life. So the equality thing is how FF3 functions and works, and I like that. So yeah, I'll get more into that later though. We'll talk about that more when we get down below. Let's go ahead and figure out where the specific NPC I have to talk to is. Part of the other reason I like that, so FF3 only really has one proper plot twist, and that plot twist is the fact that throughout pretty much the entire game, they always talk about how this darkness is a bad thing. Now, that's a duh, How many games out there, even more modern games, treat darkness as if it's a bad thing? The darkness is coming. Darkness will lead to the end of the world. Darkness, 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 blah, 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 right? He's actually talking about the balance thing right here. Oops, which I just kind of mentioned. So the whole game, they talk about darkness as if the problem is the fact that there is this darkness. Not that there is an imbalance, just that it's the darkness. It is later on that we actually discover that it is the imbalance that's actually the issue, not darkness itself. In fact, point of note, the Warriors of Darkness actually help us out, and if it wasn't for them, we would have game overed, just to be blunt about it. We'll actually see that scene later. God damn it. Do they sell Toad here? No, they don't. They do sell Teleport, which I will actually pick up some copies of. Yeah, I agree with both what Takoida and Green Boots just said. The problem is you need to sit down and define darkness. I do think it's clever, though. This is true even in the original NES version, that they took what is usually considered an evil concept and then was like, oh, surprise, it's not actually evil. I know it's a very mundane twist, but call me weird, I don't think we need super amazing, fantastical twists in our fiction. Maybe it's just the fact that I've been analyzing fiction for the last 30 years of my life, and I don't really... I've consumed so much fiction at this point that I get tired of certain tropes, but I don't like it when a story goes out of its way to make a twist just for the twist's sake, or tries to make a super mega complicated twist. That kind of grates on me nowadays. So I kind of like it when the only twist is the fact that, oh, by the way, like they do here in 3. Alright, we're going to try the inn. We're going to just start housing to housing. Every NPC, except for the obvious vendor NPCs. Hey, Bio. Welcome to FF3, where heroes don't need plans. Okay, seriously, where's the guy I gotta talk to? I think I've actually talked to everyone. Congratulations, Green Boots. I hope you liked it. Not counting the ending, of course. Yeah. Well, shoot. Okay. Damn it, do I have to pull up a walkthrough for this section? Do I really? Almost every time I play this game, I get stuck at this particular part of the game. There's basically 3 places I can go. And... whoop, wrong button. We can meet exotic women. Oh, that's right. Hang on, we gotta go do that. Okay. I know where I need to go. I know where I need to go. Floating tree still looks weird. Honestly, the floating tree creeps me out. It looks really gross. Just... am I in the right area? Yeah, no, I'm in the right area. There we go. Oh, you've come back. Blah, 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 blah. We can make up some lore, okay? Do you want to make up some lore for the floating tree? So there's this undead skeleton guy who's running a floating tree. Damn it, zoom out. There we go. So I went there and I went there. I'm just gonna look up a walkthrough. I'm just gonna look up a walkthrough. I don't know the specific thing I need to go to right now. Dragon Peak, Temple, yep. I'm supposed to be level 14 at this point. Castle Argus. Cool. Wow, this is a really terrible walkthrough. This is like, wow. I'm gonna close that walkthrough. That is not a walkthrough I think is particularly worthwhile. We'll try this one instead. Yep, did that. Did that. Yep, did that. Did that. Went there. Yep. Yeah, I always have trouble with this exact part of FF3, and I apologize. I actually don't know how I did last time when I was playing the DS version. Okay. Right. God. I do like this game, but sometimes the lack of direction is just kind of... So, I need to go to the Gulch next. Which is somewhere around here. Yep, here we go. Hey, what's up? We Gulgans are born sightless. However, we are endowed with the power of clairvoyance. That's all I will tell you. Crystal that gave you the blessing is the Crystal of Wind. You must seek fire, earth, and water. And heart, for some reason. I sense the power of fire from the island of the dwarves. When the balance between light and earth is brokenness, it begins birth to an unstoppable force that will destroy the world. The Cloud! Insert your own FF7 or internet joke, whichever works for you. If darkness engulfs the world, it will be consumed by the void. Yes, that void. We live in this gulch, hidden from the world, oftentimes knowing the future leads to misfortune. So, here's where Dash learns about himself. Yeah, we have to go to this completely random place with absolutely no hint whatsoever that you can go here, other than literally doing the expand into all areas you can reach type of exploring. Which I suppose I could have done, because there's only so many places we could have reached, and I have ink none on, but whatever. Use this spell and enter the Tower of Owen. Your destiny awaits. So this is where we get Toad, which is also required. The Tower of Owen is filled with machinery. That is where Desh's destiny awaits. That is true. And I'll also know what I'm doing a lot better at more cowbell. The Lorerunner, also known as the Idiot Runner. Okay, so I know we're all monks, but he needs to be a white mage for this, so we're just going to leave him a white mage for this dungeon. Oh my god, that's just unacceptable. We're going to make Refia a white mage, because at least her white mage outfit looked kind of cool. Wait, we already gave Toad to Ark, didn't we? Never mind. Damn it. Damn it. Fine. Wait, no. God damn it. Did you not? Okay. I just like changing jobs a lot. That's really what I'm after here. And yeah, okay, the FFs do that a lot. Zand is basically the villain of this game, but we only see him once in the entire game, and he's only mentioned 3 times, counting the time we encounter him. It's kind of weird. Oh, I should save. By the way, if anybody's wondering where the 4 Toads of Light came from, it's this game. Oh, this is going to be so much better without encounters. As I try to find the spot, I don't actually remember where it is. Apparently it was back there. We can't dive too deep, unless we're toads or something. Toads? I hate toads! Don't turn me into one. Okay, I won't turn you into a toad. He will, though. Hang on, I don't have any mana. Because I changed jobs. The good news is that, yes, Green Boots, while I was offline sometime last night or this morning. The good news is that with Enknun, this won't be super irritating. And we also don't need Minnie and Toad, except for, I think, one other dungeon after this. Now, as weird as this is going to say, I like what they do with the dungeons in this game. And the Toad dungeon and the Minnie dungeon are both examples of that. As much as both irritate me, I kind of like them. But it's hard to explain how and why. Let me put it to you this way. How many of you played World of Warcraft, especially in the BC era or the modern era? Ugh, right, that's not a healing one. I'll have to activate the inn, won't I? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, back in BC, back in the World of Warcraft in the BC era, if you wanted to have a main tank, they were a warrior. Because only a warrior could dodge and block and avoid and parry sufficiently in order to not die against certain bosses. Certain bosses did magic-type damage, which meant you needed a health sponge for them. That's where druids came in. Certain bosses, trash, needed to be tanked in large groups. That's where paladins came in. So you pretty much needed a rotation of all 3 tank types in order to function in several raids in the BC era. A paladin, a druid, and a warrior. This is true for a lot of things. You know, you had to have a shadow priest. You had to have an elemental shaman, and so forth and so on. This is because they diversified to the point where you had to use these things. That's the basic mentality of these dungeons. You have to be minied, which means you have to have a monk. Or, excuse me, a white mage. Or you have to be toaded, which means you have to have a white mage, right? It forces you to do the dungeon in a certain way, because it's the only way to do the dungeon. But at the same time, the benefit of that is it does add more variety rather than the opposite, which is everything's the same, which is, you know, previous FFs. So, whether that's overall a good thing or not is always going to depend on your personal opinion. It's the hyper-specialization versus the homogenization mentality. And I do, at least on paper, like the idea of hyper-specialization, which is basically what these dungeons are. Yeah, I need to switch back, like, now. So, okay, hands up. How many of you, after becoming toads here, stayed toads for a long period of time? What was that voice? Wait, I think I remember being here before. Oh yeah, by the way, you know how people comment on how a lot of characters have the same animations that they play repeatedly? One of the most common animations in FF3DS is the... Get used to seeing that. They do that a lot. Yeah, the Magnetic Cave is another good example of the hyper-specialization style of dungeon design. And I'll talk about that more when we get there. That is the weirdest laugh ever. I don't know how to say that out loud. Who laughs like that? There it is again. A spark dagger. Why am I getting chests? Hey, Sonic. I like that he's chewing on gum. Am I supposed to? Okay, whatever.
You will never find your way through this place.
Oh, that sucks, Sonic. Have you already done surgery stuff? I swore there was a thing here. I guess not. Alright, whatever. No? There it is. God, I don't know why that didn't trigger earlier, but whatever. I was hitting the button there. I swear. I don't think I could do that voice. I can't do it. Sorry, guys. I just can't do stereotypical nerd.
Now, I think technically, one of the reasons that the Enterprise Day isn't really considered one of the proper Enterprises is because it wasn't actually a Galaxy model that was pushed out at the right time for the other Galaxy models to be pushed out along.
I'll stop now. Well, good fortune on it, Sonic Doctor.
That was just the worst episode ever.
It's all good, Sonic. You don't have to type if it hurts you, man. Oh, hey, here's our boss. Man, that was an awesome dungeon. I love no encounters. So this is Medusa! I will destroy this tower in the name of our Lord Zand! This is the first time he's mentioned. By the way, someone actually looked into this and figured out how Zand is supposed to be pronounced. For the record, I will continue calling him Zand because his name is Zand. However, his name is supposed to be pronounced Zonday.
You cannot stop me. Prepare to die.
Whoa! So another weird thing about FF3, a lot of the enemies look completely normal whenever you're talking to them on the overworld, and then just, for some weird reason, turn into giant, hideous monster things when you actually fight them. It's kind of weird. That's a very consistent thing, by the way. That's throughout the whole game that's going to be happening. Dash, don't get too close. The fire! I think it's gonna blow up. I finally remember everything. For no reason, his amnesia goes away. It's not like he gets hit on the head, or he slowly recovers, or like something reminds him of his truth. No, he just... Oh! I remember everything now! He is the guardian of this tower, an ancient, as you call us. I was asleep for a very long time. I was supposed to awaken when this tower was in danger. I guess I slept a bit too long. It took me forever to remember my task. Damage is extensive. It's not too late. I got this. At this rate, the floating continent will be flung away from the sun. But, I mean, if we're... Wouldn't that... Anyways, the negative effects on its inhabitants are unimaginable. I'll go inside and try to stabilize the tower. Spoiler alert, he does not die from this. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Yeah, it's fun being with you guys. Dash, no, you're gonna die if you go in there. This is my destiny. Go to the Dwarves Island. That's where you'll find the power of fire. I won't forget you. Goodbye. Dash. And now we're on the airship? And by airship, I mean regular ship, sorry. Honestly, yeah, I'm with you, Grizzly Nerd. When I first saw this, I was like, holy crap! And of course, you know, that is kind of horrible, but it's okay. Some people do actually die in this game. Thank God. Wait, that sounds wrong. Don't take it that way. Alright, so I need to go there, I think, next? Pretty sure. Pretty sure I know where I'm going at this point. Fingers crossed. Yes, I am going the right place. Yay! Lally-ho! Which, I don't remember when Lally-ho started up, actually. I know they added some Lally-hos specifically for the DS version. See, oh god, I'm gonna have to research that for FF4. I just realized that. Oh my god. I may delay FF4 a day just so I could do more research. Anyways, the phrase Lally-ho was actually invented for English. There is something they say in Japanese, I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's actually a fairly common, just kind of, hey, kind of a, you know, typical Japanese noise. When they got to FF4 on the SNES, they came up with the Lally-ho thing, and it just kind of stuck. That rascal Gutso's made off with the horn of ice. He made his getaway through the underground lake. We can't go after him because dwarves can't swim. Oh, but you're humans. Humans can swim. You must aid us with your amphibious abilities. You okay? An invisible wall blocks your path. There was a shiny tower to the north, but after the earthquake it was gone. Oh, but there's a big hole where it was. Well, okay. Just random descriptions. Oh yeah, I can make him stop being a white mage now. Oh, this is so much easier to cheat, but I'm enjoying it so far. And I've talked about the story a little bit. I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun? Real question. You can tell me how terrible and awful I am. It's okay. I hear it every day. Heroes, in we go! Wait, are we turning ourselves into toads again? God damn it. I have to turn ourselves into a toad again, I just remembered. I literally just stopped being... whatever. Which means I now need to go hit the inn. Wait, no I don't. We're good, we're good. No, the swamp is down below. And now back from being a toad. Yes, that's actually Luca, in disguise. Okay. Yeah, it is nice to just be able to relax. I've mentioned before that some games are just kind of, relaxing, chill run kind of games. This is definitely one of those. This is just a game where you just kind of chill and you're like, yeah, okay. Like I said, this is a slice of cheesecake. Oh, by the way, Roximus, we were comparing the FFs to food earlier. What would you think FF9 would be? We never actually got to FF9. I don't know. Why am I looting? Why am I looting? Bad. Bad lore. Stop looting. No. No! That is true, Green Boots. FF3 is actually pretty rough. As most of the older FFs are. So here's Greed Dude.
Go away. Scat, skittle, skibobble. The horn's mine. Mine, I tell you.
Oh, encounter. We're up to 9 so far. Yes, 9. It's a Giesel pickle, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. See, I don't actually like birthday cake. It's rough and coarse, and it gets everywhere. Sorry. I actually don't like birthday cake for the most part. It usually has too much cake and not enough flavor. I mean, I get what you're saying, Max Time. Totally. Like, maybe a really good ice cream cake? I don't know. He vanished? Anyways, let's bring the horn back to the dwarves. Oh, no. Look, there's a shadow following us. Who could it possibly be? I hope that's not the rogue who I just defeated who vanished following. Let's compromise. Ice cream birthday cake. Because then there's some actual flavor in the damn thing. Favorite YouTubers? I watch Pro Jared. I kind of stopped watching Boogie2988, but he's still cool. I watch CinemaSins. I watch Jim Sterling. And I guess that's it as far as regulars. I don't have a lot of time to just watch YouTube, believe it or not. No, Kelson! No. Oh, by the way, Roximus, thank you for the donation. You'll be happy to know heroes don't need plans. Also, we even got the apostrophe in, as you can see. I'd like to say I follow Smooth McGroove, but he hasn't uploaded anything in a really long time, so I can't actually say that. It's really good, Max Time. Oh, for God's sakes, fine. Hey. Lolly ho, lolly ho. Thank you for returning the horn. Put it back on the shrine behind the other. I'll take down the ward. There we go, lolly ho. You can approach the shrine now and put the horn back where it belongs. And hopefully there's nobody following you.
Yeah, I was disguised as your shadow.
Oh, sorry, guys, spoilers.
Thanks for leading me up to the shrine. Now both horns are mine.
Gutso steals the horns of ice. What? How'd you do that? Why do you keep stealing the horns in the first place?
You silly twits. These are the horns of Ainz, wards against the fire crystal's flame. They are the key to the tunnel leading to the crystal. Now that I have them both, the power of the crystal of fire is mine! Mine!
Okay. All the dwarves just watch in shock. Super useful, guys, dwarves. I mean, come on, guys. Do something. You know, I haven't saved in a while. And I'm limited to regular saves, so I should probably someone help me remember every time I get back to the overworld from a dungeon to save, just in case. Oh yeah, by the way, damaging floors are back. Yep. It's okay, it's just lava. It's cool, guys. It's cool, we got this. Are there autosaves? This is actually my first time playing the Steam version, believe it or not. This will actually be my first time playing several of these versions of the games. First time playing the Steam FF10, first time playing the PSP 1 and 2, first time playing the PS4 FF12. We get Geomancers later. I don't remember which crystal gives Geomancers, actually. PS4, you're in boots.
I have the power of fire! I can feel it coursing through my veins. But it's not enough. I must defeat you, those who've been blessed with the light, to gain the true power of the crystal of fire. Now die! Stomp, stomp, stampy!
Or if it was an old stomp, 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 stomp! And now he's a dragon. So, this is probably the first really hard boss in the game. Like, the rat is usually a bit of a barrier for this game because you're minied while fighting him. And the Medusa can be a little bit of a difficulty, but not really. This guy, this is the first difficulty cliff in FF3. And I distinctly remember playing through this on the DS version. Keeping in mind I'd played this game before, knew I was coming into a hard boss, had gone out of my way to level, and still got wrecked. What do you think this is, Hypoxia? Divinity Original Sin? It must be the fire crystal. No, it's actually the ice crystal. Psych! Warriors of light, I bless you with power. Not that it matters, because you're staying monk until you get master. And then you're becoming master. I know FF12 has autosave. Because, you know, that's how I was testing my cheats, actually. On an autosave. Okay, so we now have the Crystal of Fire, which I believe unlocks a few more jobs. Yep. We now have access to... Oh, now we have Geomancer, so there you go. Geomancer, Scholar, Ranger... I forget what else we got with this one. But either way, this was the first time they really started experimenting with jobs. And doing some weird stuff. So, some of it's experimental and works, and some of it's experimental and does not. Geomancer, as I think I've mentioned before, is actually really overpowered in this game, although it is random. Scholar's weird. This is what a scholar looks like, as you might imagine. And, I'm not even sure what else to say about Scholar, to be honest with you. I don't think I have ever actually really used Scholars in this game. But yeah, Geomancer is basically shamanistic, elemental, and terrain. Kind of a combo, if we were to use Warcraft terms, of a shaman and a druid. Thank you for the reminder. I think now the soldiers will attack. Let's go find out. Because there's not a lot of other places we can even reach right now. There's the Chocobo Town. And I think that's it, actually. Soldiers? Soldiers? No? As I say, I'm pretty sure this is Hind time. Oh, right, I gotta return the Horns of Ice. Duh. Right. I could see that Nils wager. Probably not the best way to do it, but, you know, reliant on your inventory and all that, but I think that could work out. By the way, Dragoons are kind of weird in this version. So I like Dragoons, so I used Dragoons, and I was like, man, this sucks. Until you get to the last 3 dungeons, actually, technically the last 4 dungeons if we're counting Eureka, which have a lot of dragons in them. So, suddenly... Whoops, no, I'm going to the southern one. Suddenly, Dragoons just started becoming a lot more useful, out of nowhere. Yeah, I feel like Scholars were an attempt to try something new without really a lot of idea of where to go with it. I mean, that makes sense. You know, they were trying to stretch out. Like, all right, let's do it. Let's experiment. And then they did, and that's what we got out of it. That was the Dwarven Moonwalk. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, look at all this treasure, guys. Whew, that's a lot. I don't think I can even carry that much. No, I'm not gonna do it. I don't have enough inventory space. I'm burdened. Please. I know that I'm basically on the opposite side of the world from where my town is, but I came all the way here for absolutely no freaking reason. Begging you for your aid. Seriously, why does this guy come here? Here. I want to make the... Oh yeah, he's dead, by the way. Just to make this point clear, you see the green spot? That's where we are. Now, it's not literally on the opposite side of the continent, but you see that town down there? That's where they came from. Also, where did they get a ship from? I know that they had to have some kind of thing, and I would rather have some direction than none. But seriously, it always amuses me that this guy managed to go all the way across the inner sea, sail up over here, and make it here, and then... Or maybe that's it, he swam. Now, what's funny is there's another plot niggle just like this in FF9. It's a little better presented in 9, but it's the same overall problem. It's actually arguably worse in 9, just better presented. So, we forced the dying man to swim here. Maybe, actually no, he wasn't a dying man. Yeah, exactly, Grizzly. He was fine. He was, like, totally cool until he had to travel all the way up to the Dwarven town. And then he's like, oh, and he expired from the trap. Yes, the Burmesian is who I'm referring to. Oh yeah, by the way, the one and only time that Scholars are really useful in this game is up against the next boss, unless you know what you're doing, in which case, Scholars are useless. Get them! They will make good slaves, yes! Good! These 4 teenage kids will make good slaves. One of whom is Ark. Speaking of which, I think we can officially stop being a white mage. There we go. So yeah, it's a tree. It's not actually a tree, it's a collection of roots. Like, seriously, when I played this on the NES, I had no idea what the hell this place was supposed to be. But I want you to imagine, like, someone just took a giant pile of roots and smushed them together, and that's what this place is. It's just a floating root castle. Now, according to this guy, it's actually a tree. You know, the Elder Tree of the Living Woods, right? He put a curse on it and carved tunnels and rooms inside its trunk. But, seriously, it's just a giant pile of roots. It's really weird. I am King Argus. I rule over the lands north of the desert. That is to say, the king of an empty kingdom, now that Hein has cursed my soldiers into doing his bidding. I had put my trust in him. His betrayal cannot be forgiven. Generic sickness. Lord, you alright? I am fine, thank you, but I must ask you to do something for me. Beat the bad guy! Well, okay, I mean, I was planning on just hanging out here and being a slave for the next few years, but, you know, that's best safe for Dragon Quest V. So... Oh my god, he's suddenly a flying demon thing. Oh, right. So, anyways. This would be a good time to mention that when I first played this game, it's pretty obvious in hindsight that what happened here was the Chancellor, of course, because Chancellors are always evil, the Chancellor of the Kingdom of Argus was, you know, slowly corrupted by the power of darkness, like you do. Oh, right. Now we got a mini up. And... God damn it. I'm just gonna leave him a white mage. Forever. He's a white mage the whole game now, guys. You're welcome. You know, I still don't have any equipment on anybody. Anyways. Oh, wait. Wrong guy. Go back to being a monk. Actually, you know what? Change my mind. He is once again going to be a white mage. Well, sucks to be you then, Roxamus, because it's that or quit the game. Or constantly switch, of course. So, anywho. So where was it? Oh yeah, so it's obvious in hindsight that what happened is Hein was, you know, a normal guy, became evil, took over, you know, yada yada yada, right? And apparently you can cast all. You know, I think I knew that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Anyways, so he became evil and all that fun jazz. I mentioned this because when we actually fight Hein, he's a skeleton. Now, I mentioned that because this game has a little bit of wacky bizarrity to it. Like, I know that sounds really weird, but there's a lot of just, huh? Aspects to this game. So when I first played this on the NES, where they make it a lot less clear that Hein was corrupted by darkness and all that, I thought that this king literally just employed a skeleton as his chancellor. And my first thought was, well, gee, of course he turned against you. Come on, dude. What do you expect? Now, Figaro's chancellor in FF6 is not evil. Or is he? God, I love Enknun. So yeah, when I say he's a skeleton, I mean that very literally. That's him. The power of darkness is a thing of beauty, a black tapestry of chaos. A tapestry on which I shall paint an all-encompassing nocturne. With this fortress, Argus' soldiers, and the power of darkness, I will rule the world! I will rule on high as Sultan! Time to die. So this is actually the first time they've ever done a changing barrier boss in the FF series. You know what that is, right? Changing barrier boss? I'm just gonna kill him. Because I can do that. Turns out he's weak to fists. Who knew? In truth, though, this guy is actually kind of rough if you aren't prepared for him. An earthquake? You're in a floating tree. But the tree's like, oh, dude, thanks. Appreciate it, man. I am the Elder Tree of the Living Wounds. Hein had put a curse on me to do his bidding. But you have freed me from his bonds and killed the Skulltulas. I mean, thank you again, Warriors of Light. I will now free the people held captive within me and return them to where they belong. Then I'll go back to the Living Wounds and you'll never see me again. Yeah, so I'm actually with Shihali on this. I don't think I would actually want to live in any of the FF worlds. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably take 9. 9 is one of the first ones that comes to mind immediately. I am back. So that's the dungeon we were just in. Seriously. Here, take this. Use it when the power of darkness stands in your way. Don't think so, Kelson, no. Thank you. Yes, 9 post-events of 9. See, I've actually said before I would love to live in Windblom. Or Lindblom, excuse me. Windblom? Wow. But only after 9 finishes. Or a ways before 9, you know. I wouldn't pick 12 because imagine your whole life knowing the Lunar Cry can just happen at any old point in time and being like, yep, that's the end of your continent. So he tells us we have to go to the surface world. If you do not do it now, it'll be 1,000 years until you can go again. For no reason. Just, you need to go now. Just go. Which town would I settle in? Lindblom. I don't even have to think about that. Lindblom. I'd go to Lindblom. Hey, Lost Mercenary. Oh, yeah. Esther would be fun if the Lunar Cry wasn't actively happening while I was there. That would be kind of sucky. A little bit. The what? I don't know. I'm not sure I could live in any world that has brother in it. Oh, wow. Is it that late already? Jeez Louise. Okay. I did that. I did that. Do I have to go to Argus now and get the wheel? Is that where I'm supposed to go? Hang on. Castle Hein. Just the tree. Castle Argus. Yeah, okay. It is Argus. And then... this, yeah. Okay. Look, Marsh can go suck it. I'm just saying. I don't know. FF2 might tempt me as even worse than FF10. And as much as I like FF6, I'm not sure I'd like to live there. Hey, dude. Ah, thank you, young ones. Your brave actions have brought peace once again. Here, take the Wheel of Time. We're not sure why we had it, but, you know. Just, we're not even sure why we're telling you to give it to Sid. Just take it. Just take it. There would be a lot of punching, Final Cloud. I admit living in Narsh would be kind of nice. You know, without the World of Ruin thing. Now, if I had the money to actually live in G-Dor, that would be awesome. I wouldn't mind living in a nice, you know, expensive, fancy place. Weird fact, I actually have very cheap tastes, but I also very much appreciate luxury. I know that sounds like a weird thing. Like, if I had infinite money, I wouldn't mind having, you know, some luxurious accommodations, but it wouldn't be my first choice kind of a thing. Like, if I won the lottery, I still probably wouldn't actually make a nice, big, super fancy place. But the first FF they had voice actors in was 10. Ah, you've met the Wheel of Time, and blah, 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 blah. So he's going to go do that. Thanks, Sid. Appreciate it. Now you can finally get away from the floating continent and back to our own world. Our own world? What do you mean? So this is where Sid spills his guts. I guess it's time you knew the truth. You four and I are not from this world, this floating continent. So, as you can see, he did have several passengers on the ship, other than us. The only survivors were you four. I find that a little doubtful. I personally like to think that there were other survivors, but shrug. Now, you'll notice he talks about that like that was instantaneous. That looks like a plot hole, but again, can be explained by the stasis drifting thing I mentioned. You know, the stasis hit, and then just hit. And then, so for him, no time is passing, because he's in stasis. It's only when he enters the protective sphere of the floating continent, that's when he unfreezes, and then, of course, the airship instantly crashes, right? So from his perspective, I do personally like the idea that there were other survivors and that some of them were, in fact, the ancients here, but who knows? So, I'm going to admit something that's going to make you all make fun of me. Oh, hey, we finally have an airship again. When I very first played this game on the NES, I went in completely blind. It's one of actually very few FFs I went into completely blind. And so when I found out that this whole part of the game was just one tiny area of the game, it blew me away. Now, part of that's because I felt like there was a fairly decent amount of content on the floating continent, and because it had taken me quite a while to get through it, because, I mean, this game's kind of rough, especially on the NES version. But when I saw this, well, hang on, I think there's actually a cutscene. Yeah. I'll show you in a second. Why aren't we at the wheel? Again, as I mentioned before, speculatively speaking, the reason these four aren't restasised is because they are imbued with the power of 2 crystals of light, and ergo can resist the flood of darkness. Otherwise, they would have just restasised like everything else. So, strangely enough, no inconsistencies. So anyways, when I saw this, I was just like, whoa! Really? Holy crap! And then I got really, really lost. Because, this is just this endless ocean. Now, in the actual NES part, this was just ocean. It was just the exact same tile and graphic of an ocean. I like this better. This gets across the idea of the flood of liquid darkness, as I described earlier, a little bit better. So yeah, it is immensely easy to get lost here. And if you don't understand why, that's the world map. As you can see, there's 3 spits of land poking up, and the continent, and that's it. And this is a large overworld map. Yes, there was the sight spell, just like there was in FF4, actually. But, yeah. So that's actually where we're supposed to go, I think? But where I actually want to go. Whoop. Oh, yeah, by the way, you can sail on the darkness. I'm not sure what you'd want to do. It's not deadly so much as horrific. So this is the only thing I want to show off. This gives you an idea of just how high up the world has been flooded with this darkness. You saw that in the intro. That's the last dungeon right there. That's the Crystal Tower. And only the very, half of it is peeking up from out of that. Anyways, you never saw that? Oh, yeah, I have to visit Aria first. That's right. Yeah. I only mentioned this because remember how I mentioned I got lost? This is actually in the NES version. This is this is the first thing I found, the first identifying marker I found in the NES version. Was that thing. And I was like, what the hell is that? And that was pretty much my exact reaction at the time. Oh, she is in the ship. God damn it, I was right. I thought this is where I was supposed to go. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. If I'm going the right... I'm going to check. Okay, I am going kind of the right way. Oh, right. Wrong button. I did know that Necro Gangster, although I don't know much about the lore of it. So here's Aria's theme playing. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say her name, but I don't care. Ruximus actually linked me a video like, here's all the proper pronunciations, and a few of them are interesting, but I've decided to actively disagree with several of them. Like Zonde, as I mentioned earlier. I am not calling him Zonde. So. Oh no, Miss Aria. Are we ever in trouble? Alas, alack! If nothing is done, our own time will cease as well. Hey, Gramps, calm down. God, just what's going on? The land. Darkness has covered the land, and darkness has stopped our time. Miss Aria tried to stop it, but... Oh, Miss Aria. Oh, Miss Aria, wake up! She's very weak. We have to help her. Well, what can we do? Wonder if we have anything in our bag that can fix her up. Hint! Hint! Potion! Who are you? Where am I? The light. I see a powerful light within you. Could that be? Yeah, I'm heroes! The crystals guided us to this world. Oh, so you're the warriors of light. Huh. The crystals have chosen their champions. Ah, we're saved. If only that were true. Time is still motionless outside of these walls, except for where we can move through it. So the world has succumbed to darkness. We must save it! Bring me to the Temple of Water. Maybe if we bring the crystal shard there to the sealed crystal... Ah, please! You must bring me to the Temple of Water. So there's actually a whole tribe of maidens like her of which she is the last, because of course she is. Why wouldn't she be? The light of the crystal within you has freed me from this frozen time. If the water crystal gains its full power, we may be able to banish the darkness from this. Oh, I actually forgot about that. Yes, the break will be pretty soon. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unseal the world, and then we'll go ahead and break for the day. And that will be the end of today's stream, by the way, because I'm not going to be back until like 5, so I'd normally be cutting off then anyways. So I was actually wrong. My apologies, guys. Arya was actually frozen too. The only reason she got unfrozen was because we showed up, and as I mentioned, we aren't affected by the time freeze because of the crystal. Yes, Elder Scrolls Curious. This is a completely different world. Just making sure I'm on the right track here. And don't listen to what the developers say, Elder Scrolls Curious. FF2 and FF4 are not connected. They're not. They're not! I swear! I hope so too, Bragwin. I'm going to make her tell me all about it. And she's going to tell me like, oh, it was fun. And that's all she's going to say, and I'm going to be upset. Yes, there are a few connecting points in the overall setting of the FF, the void being the big one. It is probably the one thing they've done correctly when it comes to connecting the FFs. Whoops! God damn it. Wrong button. Keep doing that. Thank the heavens. There's still light within the shard. No, officially Dissidia is canon. Sorry, guys. Our next stop is the sealed water crystal. It must be imbued with the shard's light. But, Miss Arya, where did the shard come from? Well, before the world was doomed, when we saw the darkness expanding, we priestesses sealed the crystal to protect it from darkness, in hopes that one day the warriors of light would come. This shard was created to break the crystal's seal. Come, we must go to the Cave of Tides to the north, and fight a boss. She does look a lot like Naminé, doesn't she? That's a word that took me a while to get used to the pronunciation of, by the way. I used to call her Namine. Personally, I think Dissidia lines up with FF1 and FF5 quite well. The others, not so much. It's FF2 and 4 that irritates me, and it's FF7 and 10 FF10, 2, and 7, let's say it right, that absolutely pisses me off. I mean, seriously. Like, of all the FFs to connect. What's funny is me and several of my friends actually had a theory that FF10 and FF7 were also connected, for what amounted to the same reason, but in a completely different way. The idea was that they actually reference Genova. Well, okay, no they don't. They reference something that could be described as Genova in FF10. And the theory was that the Great Northern Crater, which is where they found several of the ancient tech, was actually the same crater from FF7, and that Genova was the one who caused all of those issues. Then FF10 happens, everyone recovers from Sid, technology starts to, develop again, and after the course of several generations, we naturally lead to FF7. That's what our theory was. Not, we harness the far plane, and then get in a spaceship and go to another world. Sorry, it just really aggravates me. Oh yeah, by the way, did you know that was a door? Could you tell this was a door here? If you haven't been paying attention, a lot of areas in this game have this kind of vague, like, shaded, fading shadow thing on it. And they're not doors. Most of the time, they're just walls. Just thought I'd share that, because I do like this game, but some of the graphics choices and the dungeons make me go, really? think I went the right way. We'll find out in a second. Just think of all the enemies I'm skipping right now. Nope, I went completely the wrong way. Fine, just in case the plot came on. Nope, that's just Blizzaga. Don't care. So, you know how I mentioned earlier that you really... that they kind of do the hyper-specialization thing in this one? What do you guys think about the fact that certain bosses in this game kind of require, at least if you're playing normally, require certain jobs? Garuda comes to mind immediately for that kind of a thing. Hein could be argued to be that as well if you don't know what you're doing. It got kind of weird sometimes, that's for certain. Okay. Oh, Cerberus is another good example of that, yeah. Yeah, so I actually had someone once ask if you could do a 4-job fiesta in FF3, and my answer was no. No, 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 no. No. I talked about that earlier, Shihali, and I agree. They did do quite a good job with it. Even though they required you to spend job points to switch jobs. Shrug. That is a good question, Cashel. Keep in mind that Dissidia also references Luneth and, I think, Ingus. So... So this boss is another one of those barrier bosses. I don't mean like Hein was. I mean, this is another difficulty spike. This guy right here. It also is irritating because the last save point is outside. As in, there's no save points here. The first game FF with save points was FF4. So she knocks us out of the way. She takes the hit. I actually distinctly remember having to grind for this guy, and then going to fight him, and then still losing, and then having to grind for him again. And I think I repeated that 3 times. Here's the second time Zand is referenced. Also, he looks like that. You'll notice I didn't one-shot him. That's how hard this boss is. I mean, I'm hitting for 4,000 to smack. This guy was a serious difficulty spike. So, several people have asked me, why don't they heal her here? Well... the obvious answer is because, you know, plot, but there is actually a real reason for this. So first of all, we had to fight a boss while she was taking, you know, while we could have healed her if not for the fact that we were fighting the boss. And then she dies. So, you know, that's kind of a problem. And then before we can do anything to try and consider rezzing her, this happens. So it is actually consistent, lore-wise, for us not being able to recoup her. Well, I'm going to switch to Master, first of all, Green Boots, and I'm also going to cheat my stats up more. I haven't actually cheated my stats at all, except for the 2 instances. All I've done is given myself level 99. I could be much cheatier than I am being right now, because I don't need to be yet. Warriors of the Light. Oh, sorry.
Warriors of the Light. You must seek out Doga. He is the only one who can help you defeat Zonde.
Peace! We should have totally named them Heroes Kinda Need Cheats. Oh, well. We're in Amur, City of Water. Yeah, exactly. With what Dakota mentioned here. So yeah, they actually describe the whole time stasis thing here, and it's very consistent with what I mentioned earlier with regards to Sid, so no plot holes there. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for Une to actually show up in that scene. I do like that. That's nice. So, what time is it? I probably should cut it off here, guys. But I do want to show off one thing before I do. And then we'll be starting again tomorrow at 10 a.m. EST as per our usual. But the first thing I want to show off is the new overworld map. So this once again shows how they were back on track with their overworld design from FF2's overworld map, because this overworld map is really nice, very well designed, lots of complexity to it, good distribution of events, not a lot of empty spaces which mean nothing, good distribution of enemies and enemy difficulty, etc., etc. And hang on, let's get a save in while I'm thinking about it. There we go. Yes, here we go. And I very much like what they've done with this. And they also continue the sort of Metroid thing. So right now we only have access to foot, but we need to go to this upcoming dungeon here in order to be able to go and be able to use the ship, which gives us the first airship. Once we have access to the first airship... Wait, what's... So yeah, that's just straight up game over, if you do that. Just for you guys. It's okay, I just saved. I hope. I did save, right? Okay, so anyways, we'll get the airship. The airship will allow us to go some places, but actually not all. Some of the world is actually underwater, and then some of it is behind mountains. And so we're going to actually need access to 2 other airships in order to be able to go forward from this point in time. Again, very Metroid-y, and I actually like that. It's something that FF5 does, too, by the way. FF5 also has the, first you get the ship, then you get the Hiryu, then you get the other ship, then you get the airship, then you lose all that, then you get the Hiryu again, and so forth and so on. I do like that style of slowly opening up the overworld bit by bit. Usually games like these do still have a freedom point. Technically, the freedom point in 3 would be the moment we get the Invincible, because as soon as we get the Invincible, we have access to everything. And similarly, in 5, pretty much the moment we get the airship in 5, we have access to everything. So there is still a freedom point in both 3 and in 5. Just, up until that point, it's... hang on just a second, Dark Angle. I can manually... I'm going to chop off the local recording, so for those of you watching us on YouTube, I will see you next time.